33.
I starred in a line dancing instructional video.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
Sometimes your brain moves faster than your mouth. You don't know what's happening.
And Jen Jensen.
And it's okay to get riled up and whatever, but this is my PSA for the morning. Hang up on me. Probably not going to get on for a little while.
Don't harass Jen.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Get them up. We have basketball to play tonight. How about that? Meaningful March basketball at Colonial Life Arena. And we're talking about the men's side, by the way. We've done the meaningful March basketball for the women's side. It's time to do some meaningful March basketball at Colonial Life Arena on the men's side of things. Welcome in on a rainy Wednesday morning as we get you up and get you going here from Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, the early game. Going to be a fun show as we'll start the countdown. One of the most anticipated basketball games for the men's side of things at Colonial Life Arena that I can remember in the last 20 years, and it's fun. It's absolutely fun. It's almost a no-lose situation because of what is still to be played, what is still going on.
Really cool situation scenario for South Carolina tonight as Tennessee rolls into town. The Volunteers right now projected by ESPN and a few others as a number 1 seed in the upcoming NCAA tournament. But tonight's game, it's because there's one game left and things can happen. Tonight's game has first place on the line. You'll have to still win Saturday if you're South Carolina, if you're Tennessee. You'll have to still win on Saturday. But tonight, first place will be on the line. To call it improbable would be one of the understatements of the first 2 months and 6-7 days here of 2024 that South Carolina is in this position. But here it is, number 17 South Carolina hosting number 4 Tennessee tonight. Again, Colonial Life Arena. We will talk a lot about that. We've got a lot of people to get to this morning that we want to get opinions from. We'll start with Trey Kelly, former Gamecock point guard who's joined us before. He'll join us at 7:30 this morning. We'll catch up on the Vegas side of things with Brian Edwards at about 8:15 this morning. And we'll look at the Tennessee side of things with Wes Rucker of Go Vols 247 coming up at about 8:30 this morning. Along the way, Elijah Campbell, who is up, we'll get the SEC women's tournament started today. We'll get that going up in Greenville. South Carolina won't participate until Friday, but we will get that going, and Elijah Campbell will give us a call coming up around 7:45 this morning, and we'll see how things are going up there. So a lot of things to get to today, a lot of excitement here for this basketball game that, again, I'll tell you coming up in the next segment. This is the odd thing about late season college basketball. It's fun. It's a blast. We can blast Sandstorm. We can get really geared up for it. You can make sure your lucky white towel is ready to attend the game tonight. Make sure your lucky outfit is ready to attend the game. But you know what? It's a win-win situation. South Carolina's going to get a lot of publicity tonight. They're going to be talked about in a big basketball game. It's not even streaming. I don't know how many of you were able to even catch last night, the big basketball game that took place last night, the top 15 showdown on Peacock. Illinois hosting Purdue last night. Number 3, Purdue. Number 12, Illinois. Purdue won 77-71. But it was broadcast on Peacock tonight. At least you're on, what is it, what we still want to call it, cable television? Do we still call it that? ESPN2 is where the game is at. Of course, you can hear it right here, 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock, 107.5 the game, 100.3 the game in Myrtle Beach. But, again, tonight you get all the publicity. Everybody will rave about the job Lamont Paris has done. Talk about him for Coach of the Year. They'll talk about how scrappy and gritty this team is. They'll talk about the atmosphere at Colonial Life Arena. They'll talk about the fans. And if you lose, the only thing you really lose is the regular season SEC championship. That's the only thing. You're still going to be in the SEC tournament next week. You're still going to be in the NCAA tournament in 2 weeks. You still got all your goals in front of you in terms of having a monster season. Matter of fact, and I say all the goals because even the SEC regular season championship isn't taken away from you just yet. You'd pull for a Tennessee loss on Saturday, but everything would still be there. This is a great opportunity. Recruits are going to be in the house tonight. I've always complained is a strong word. I've always said it's really hard, and I've talked to a lot of head coaches that have come through the University of South Carolina over the last 20 years. It's hard. It's a hard sell at that building at times because you get recruits in there, and it doesn't always equal the best home court advantage, the loudest environment. It can, but it doesn't. And it's hard to sell recruits on that. Tonight, Lamont Paris is going to have an atmosphere that will wow recruits, a fan base that will wow recruits. A pregame, hopefully it won't rain all the way up until 7 o'clock so you can get down there early, hit your favorite establishment, make the outside of Colonial Life Arena a nice little vibe. But tonight is a showcase game for Lamont Paris in year 2. Boy, what a turnaround from year 1. We'll talk a lot about that this morning. 803-404-6100. Gamecocks will, or at least last night, I've not looked because I've been driving. I've not looked. I did look real quick just to see if I won the Mega Millions. I did not. If you have a Mega Millions ticket, I hate to burst your bubble. Nobody won last night. I did look at that. I did not look, however, at the Vegas point spread for tonight's game. As of last night, Tennessee was favored by 5.5. They were minus 5.5 going into this morning. So we'll look and get an updated line there. But the Vols favored coming in. But it'll be a lot of fun, and we'll talk a lot about it. 803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in. Again, we got a busy show, a lot of people to get to this morning. Trey Kelly at 7:30, former Gamecock point guard. We'll have Elijah Campbell joining us from Greenville at 7:45 this morning. Give us a little breakdown of what's going on as we get the SEC women's tournament started up at Bon Secours Wellness Arena up in Greenville later on today. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, we'll catch up with Brian Edwards. Not only will we talk about the Vegas spread for the South Carolina-Tennessee game, we'll talk about maybe some underdogs. You want to put a little pizza money, as Brian Edwards says, on a couple teams sitting out there that you want to take for the national championship. We'll talk about that. And then coming up at 8:30, we'll wrap it up with the Tennessee side of things. Wes Rucker, good buddy of mine, covered sports with him for a long time with 24/7 Sports. He'll join us from Go Vols 247 to give us the Tennessee side of things. So a lot to do this morning. Again, if you want to join, 803-404-6100, the Firehouse Subs text line, or the Love Chevy phone line. Speaking of which, we go out to Gamecock Larry, ready to get involved this morning. How you feeling, young man?
Well, I'm telling you what, I've been talking on the phone ever since Florida put it to Alabama. Old Root Hall calling, CW calling, everybody calling. I called a few and they wouldn't answer the phone. But let me tell you something. I posted something on Facebook, but I think I predicted the wrong score. But I'm going to tell you what it's going to be in a minute. But the baseball team won. I ain't worried too much about baseball. We got 30 SEC games in baseball to go through. But let me tell you about these men. I'm going to say tonight is going to be a night. But I am predicting a score. Now, I put the wrong score on Facebook. I was I don't know. I'm an old man. I can't think and can't get my brain calibrated and all that. Well, I ain't got much brain. But the final score is going to be Tennessee 63, Gamecock 67, and we're going to be on the way 67, 63, Gamecocks. And I want to tell you, I love all y'all. I appreciate them. 107.5. Give the old man a few minutes to talk trash. Like I say, I know I'm kind of crazy, talk crazy sometimes, but I mean what I say and say what I mean. Love you all. Go Gamecock. Talk to you later.
Oh, Gamecock later with a prediction. And if you want to weigh in on yours this morning, 803-404-6100. If you want to make a prediction, 67, 63 is where Gamecock Larry goes in this morning. And that would feature, that would be what South Carolina uses to win. A low-scoring, grind it out, drag you into the muck kind of game. That's kind of what South Carolina's specialty has been. That's why they were able to defeat Tennessee up in Knoxville already this season, as they just slowed the game down in that 63-59 victory up in Knoxville on a particular Tuesday night in January that saw South Carolina. Points in that game. He was 11 of 24, kind of kept Tennessee in it down the stretch. Talon Cooper was fantastic that night with 18 points up there in Knoxville. Also had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 turnovers in his 18-point performance. The Gamecocks also, if you remember that night, got a good start from B.J. Mack, who hit a couple threes very quickly and then kind of tallied off, kind of fell off afterwards as Tennessee was able to defend him. He was 4 of 15, but finished the night with 16 points and scored 7 of his 16 from the foul line. He was 7 of 8 that night, kind of playing some bully ball against Tennessee. So we'll talk a lot more about that this morning, get into the importance of this game. Again, if you want to weigh in with a prediction, 803-404-6100. The co-pilot weighs in. Wendy's is using the Sandstorm in commercials now. Gamecock Larry needs to get him some coupons for old Wendy's.
There you go. I saw that they were using that. It's like, they saw something good finally.
Okay, now you know Jen's feelings about Wendy's. That comes out very early on a Wednesday morning.
No, I just mean it's funny how, Sandstorm's been a big thing in a lot of different games. Purdue uses it, Carolina, at least Purdue does for basketball. But
Okay.
but to see all of a sudden now a national chain finally use it, I just kind of assumed that would have happened a lot sooner.
Okay. Well, they're in it. I don't know what kind of sign that means for South Carolina. That they've won 24 games. That the Final Four is in Phoenix. A lot of coincidences back to 2016, 2017. We'll talk more about tonight's game coming up. It'll be a big show on that. We'll get you Atlanta Braves update as well. Some Ronald Acuna Jr. news from yesterday. We'll talk about that, and also the EA Sports College Football 25 game. All right, would you opt out? I mean, would you opt out? One player did. One big name player, big name, but maybe not a starter. We'll talk about that. We'll get into that a little bit. And as Gamecock Larry mentioned last night, South Carolina 7-1 victory over the Citadel at Founders Park. Gamecocks roll along, move on to 9-3 on the season. We will bring that up just a little bit and keep you updated. It does not look like baseball today, but nothing has been canceled just yet. But we'll try and keep you updated if anything pops up this morning. 803-404-6100. You're listening to Jen Jensen. I'm Bill Gunner. It is the early game.
The Game Network. The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Also on the 107.5 The Game app and streaming live on The Game TV. Listen to Gamecocks baseball on The Game. And if a Gamecocks batter hits a grand slam, you could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash in the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. Go to 1075thegame.com and register. Brought to you by Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union and The Game.
Hey, it's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. All that demolition we had done in the kitchen due to a flood Cabinets were installed. Could not be more happy with the results. The process in figuring out what cabinets we needed, the accessories and everything went really well. The photorealistic renderings that they gave us to help us pull the rest of the design together and put our kitchen all back in order. But they also do more than just kitchens. Do you have a closet maybe that needs to be more functional? Pantry, is that kind of a mess? You have no idea what you have. Maybe you recently found something from like 2002. Okay, maybe it's time to get that updated. CHW can help you maximize functionality and create even better storage options. And maybe you're even looking to create a workspace. They can help with that as well. CHWcabinetry.com. Call them today at 803-520-6837. Be sure to tell them that Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry. Passion from inspiration to installation.
1075 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you.
Inside your home. Call Canty for a free inspection today at 753-1495 or visit cantycanfixit.com.
That's KNO.
I do have all the cuts. I just don't have the sheet in yet.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
The demand for your used car is at an all-time high, and it's never been worth more. Herndon Chevrolet needs your trade. We'll buy your car, even if you don't buy ours. And to prove it, we're willing to beat any written offer by $500. That's right. We'll beat any written offer by $500. Visit Herndon Chevrolet today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile. Smile.
803-630-5929 for more details.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
Is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
Sloppy morning out there, so allow a little extra time, please, if you would. It's just rainy and yuck. We already have an accident, I-26 eastbound at Harbison Boulevard. Also, I-20 westbound before Broad River Road. That's exit 65. The two left lanes are currently blocked. And then I-20 eastbound after Broad River Road, the left lane is blocked. So a lot of congestion there around Broad River Road due to an accident on both sides. Be careful, please. Low beam headlights. And, of course, if your lights are on or if your Yes, your wipers are on. Your lights should be on as well. Oh my goodness. Trying to lecture and not even doing it right. 68 for the high today. Heavy rain in the morning and then rain kind of throughout the day. Right now it is rainy and 59 on the early game.
The early game with Bill Gunter,
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne,
and Jen Jensen, your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$6:20 on your Wednesday morning, your rainy Wednesday morning, as we get you up and get you going here and look ahead to tonight's monster game over at Colonial Life Arena. That, again, I'll tell you, and I believe, having watched a lot of basketball over my time, it is a phenomenal opportunity for Lamont Paris to grow this program, to continue to gain publicity, and to me, a no-lose situation. Yeah, if you go out and get beat, I mean, look, it happens in college basketball. Losses actually are put behind people almost minutes after the game ends in college basketball. They're not paid attention to in the same way that we look at college football losses. And tonight, though, if you win, the opportunity to showcase your arena, your fans, your style of play, just everything about what Lamont Paris is building, because there will be multiple very solid recruits. Isaiah Henry back in the building tonight. He is a 4-star wing out of the state of North Carolina in the 2025 class, actually just coming off of an official visit to South Carolina. And if you're thinking, Henry, that sounds familiar, well, he is the brother of former Clemson edge, outside linebacker, defensive end, KJ Henry, who had a very good career for the Tigers. So Isaiah Henry back in the building tonight. You've got commitment Isaiah Ellis back in the building, who will get to enjoy what this place is like. That's a great opportunity. And Tennessee's a good basketball team. They're favored. So South Carolina even goes in without the pressure of being the favorite team in the game. This is a really big chance, I think. And if you lose, who cares? Guess what? You go play at Mississippi State on Saturday. You get to make another opportunity to make a statement in the NCAA or the SEC tournament next week, and then you get a huge opportunity to make an NCAA statement coming up in 2 weeks. And South Carolina isn't going to lose seeding because of tonight's game if they were to lose. So that's why I call it a huge opportunity. This is a fun game. There's a no-lose opportunity tonight and a chance for Lamont Paris to grow this program. And last night, Lamont Paris was on Carolina Calls, and he talked about this season, the milestones from this season and what's taking place. Here's a little bit of Lamont Paris last night on the season thus far and the milestones they have accomplished.
I mean, there's so many milestones as you're building a program. You have so many milestones. Honestly, we won 11 games last year, so 12 games was significant,
Yeah.
right? 16 wins was significant as a winning season. A winning record in conference was significant. So many milestones that you hit in a season like this, and sometimes it takes a while to get those things. So to do so many of them in here in one season is great. But then, if it could culminate in two of the greatest milestones, one of which going to the NCAA tournament, huge. It's a huge thing. It's going to be the best accomplishment in the world of sports for any of these guys on our team. And some of our assistant coaches, even most of the ones that were here with me already, have been coached in the NCAA tournament. But and then to be able to potentially cap it off with an SEC championship, it's unbelievable to think about what these guys have been able to accomplish in a short time.
Lamont Paris last night. Look, they're embracing the moment. Love that. They're not shying away from it. You heard him talking about what this could mean for the individuals on that team to win an SEC champion, a regular season championship, and then obviously you go on and get your opportunity next week over in Nashville for the SEC tournament. But it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for the program. One guy tonight that should be back is Miles Studi. We got an update from Lamont Paris on his availability and his health last night as well.
I think he's in talking with the trainers and him after practice. He feels pretty good about where he is physically and wants to try to give it a go. So I think some of it we'll see how the game's going, and but don't be surprised if we see him out there, and then how he responds to. It's one thing to do it at practice, and then you get in the game and it's live, and so we'll see what that looks like. But luckily for him, he's made really good progress with it. It hasn't been as severe as what it could have been, and so his teammates and his coaches and myself, we're all looking forward to getting him back in the fold. But tomorrow, don't be shocked if he gets out there some tomorrow just to see what it looks like, in a real life scenario.
That would be a good thing for the Gamecocks to get him back just a little bit tonight, even if it's not for more than 15 or 18 minutes, get him on the floor with his shooting ability. You know that they're going to come out. This game is going to be a full 40-minute game. No matter what happens in the first 6, 8, 10 minutes, there's going to be a lot of energy in that building. And one of the key things for this is going to be South Carolina trying to maintain and control emotions, not coming out of the gate overly fired up. It's going to be senior night. You're going to be honoring Talon Cooper, Stephen Clark, BJ Mack. It's going to be imperative that Talon Cooper continue to play with the poise that he has played. I'm interested to get a little bit further into the offseason and for us to take time and to kind of discuss where Talon Cooper in his one season here in Columbia kind of rates in the all-time list of South Carolina point guards. I'm not trying to put him at the very top, but I don't know if we understand the kind of season that Talon Cooper is having and what he is doing for this team and the way he controls the game. Obviously, if Michi Johnson is hot, then that's great and it can carry your team. But Talon Cooper's he's the guy that makes the engine go. He is the guy with the way he controls, with his size, with his ability to guard. You go back to the last time these two teams played, and again, one of the things that occurred in that game was the ability to contain Ziegler, the point guard for Tennessee in that game, and not let him go crazy. They did a good job on Dalton Connect for the majority of the game until the very end, but Zakai Ziegler, a very solid little point guard for Tennessee, and if you go back to the last time these two teams played, he played 32 minutes. Zakai Ziegler did the point guard for Tennessee, played 32 minutes, scored 2 points in that game. He was 0 of 6 in that game up in Knoxville. He did not make a three-pointer. He was 0 of 4, 0 of 6 from the field, and also only had 3 assists. He was limited, and a lot of that had to do with the play of Talon Cooper and how they shut him down in that particular contest. One other thing that came to mind in that game when you look at the numbers, Jonas Adu, the big guy who can really make things happen, he struggled around the rim. He's got a size advantage. He has a size advantage on South Carolina, but he really struggled early on. He was almost, I don't know if intimidated is the right word, but South Carolina was physical with him, and it caught him off guard. He got into foul trouble, had 4 fouls, only scored 6 points. He was 2 of 8, missed a lot of bunnies around the rim. That was a big part of it and how South Carolina played defense. And tonight, to start this game, it would be imperative they do that as well. 803-404-6100. We'll roll along. We'll get into some more numbers. If you want to weigh in this morning, again, that phone number on the Love Chevy phone lines, the Firehouse Sub text line, 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game.
The Game Network. The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Also on the 107.5 The Game app and streaming live on The Game TV. Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. A true reflection of quality. The Game TV.
Bill Gunner for Love Chevrolet. I tell you what, the number one Chevy volume dealer right here in the Midlands. And trust me, they've been that way for over 60 years, taking care of families just like yours and mine, making sure we have the right car, truck, or SUV to get us to what we need to do, whether going to work, whether getting the kids to soccer or basketball or baseball or cheerleading. you need a reliable vehicle. The folks at Love Chevrolet have got you taken care of. And right now, whether it's a Tahoe, a Suburban, a Camaro, maybe it's the red hot Silverado, you're going to find it at Love Chevrolet in their 14 acres of brand new Chevys. You're going to find it in your favorite color and trim. And guess what? They're ready to drive home today, and they can be driven home with incredible prices. That's right, because Love Chevrolet doesn't sell above MSRP, and they have the $1,000 low price guarantee where you can shop other dealerships, take their deal back to the folks at Love Chevrolet, and they will top it. Go visit I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, and together, let's drive.
Powerball jackpot for Wednesday is $485 million. Be sure to stop by your local South Carolina Education Lottery retailer and get your ticket today. See sceducationlottery.com.
Oh, man. Okay, this might be my favorite moment of 2023. Taking place on November 9th, a Thursday morning at the 107.5 The Game Studios. A victory lap for us. Thank you to Jen Jensen for her outstanding work with the cell phone camera as we invaded the early game studios with the Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge Trophy, much to the dismay of one of the hosts who shall remain nameless, but that's his most photogenic angle. If you listen to the early game in the mornings, you know that he who shall remain nameless, Jen Jensen, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and the now retired Darlington Raceway President Kerry Tharp compete in this NASCAR contest where we pick one driver for each race. You get bonus points if you pick the winner. The better the finish, the more points you get. It started in February with Stenhouse, my pick, and it ran all the way through early November, and for the second year in a row, yours truly came away with the trophy. Joshua contributed with a Michael McDowell pick at Indy, which was a home run pick for sure. He laughed at me, by the way, when I took Stenhouse at Daytona for what it's worth. But this is a serious contest, and if I had to choose between winning a fantasy football title with my buddies and this contest, not even a question. So we'll go for 3 in a row in 2024, and I already have Stenhouse set for Daytona, so perhaps he can win his second consecutive Super Bowl of stock car racing. So looking forward to an exciting 2024. And there's Kerry Tharp, again, retiring as Darlington Raceway president in his last race back on Labor Day weekend, the Cookout Southern 500, and there he is getting a selfie with the race winner, Kyle Larson, who was also one of my picks during the year. So it's a fun year in 2023 competing for the trophy, and again, we'll go for 3 in a row next year.
Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass.
Hey, this is Brian Glenn with Village Idiot Pizza. For over 30 years, we've been proud supporters of all Gamecock athletics and the spot to be at for all your pre- and post-game food and fun. There's also not a bad seat in the house for all televised events. So bring your friends and help us cheer on our University of South Carolina Gamecocks. Don't forget about our Wednesday special, buy one, get one free large pizzas in 5 Points and Olympia at the Middles. Village Idiot Pizza.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
Sloppy morning out there, going to be that way a good part of the day. And so we're looking at a few accidents. Screaming Eagle Road at Coon Road. Also, I-26 eastbound at Harbison Boulevard. I-20 westbound before Broad River Road. 2 left lanes are blocked. And the other side of the interstate, I-20 eastbound, the 2 left lanes are blocked. So big slowdown there if you are approaching Broad River Road from either west or eastbound, or heading either of those directions. Be careful out there this morning. Heavy rain this morning, then it might clear for a little while before some rain later this afternoon again. 68 high, clears out for sunny skies tomorrow, and 73. But rain and 59 right now in the early game.
you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
And the 1-1 pitch from Trey Quinn. Lined up in the middle, right into his glove. He'll throw to first. Casas makes the grab. It is a 1-3 double play that ends today's ball game. South Carolina, the winner over the Citadel, 7-1. The Gamecocks improved to 9-3 on the season. The Citadel will fall to 9-3 on the year. The Gamecocks get a good bounce back win today. Part of a 5-game homestand, Coach. It's always nice kicking off with a victory.
That was the call last night on the Gamecock Radio Network as the Gamecocks knock off Citadel 7-1. Solid performance. Look, you just have to bounce back after that weekend series against Clemson. It didn't go the way that you planned, not only in terms of wins and losses, but also like leaving guys on base. 4 for 37 in the 2 games that South Carolina played last night. Again, it was Talmadge LaCroix with a solid night. 3 hits in 4 at-bats. You get 2 RBIs from Cole Messina, who was 1 of 5 last night in the ball game. Eddie Hopper getting the start last night, pitching 4 and a third innings and coming out doing a very good job in his limited time there, facing just 19 batters, struck out 6, walked none. That was pretty nice. That's what you want. Gave up just 5 hits. Parker Marlett gets the victory there, coming on and pitching 2/3 of an inning in the 5th inning, and he gets the victory. So the Gamecocks are supposed to play today against Davidson. And I tell you what, Jen, right now, let's go ahead and just in case, let's give the tickets away. We have some tickets for Davidson, 803-404-6100. We're going to give away 2 pairs of tickets to you early listeners. We never take care of our early listeners. Let's give away 2 pairs of tickets to Davidson today. We'll see if they play. Supposed to play at 3 o'clock. 803-404-6100. If you want a pair of tickets, look, you win it. They may play a makeup game at some point. We'll take callers 4 and 5.
Exactly.
Callers 4 and 5. We'll take right now. 803-404-6100. If you want a pair of tickets to South Carolina and Davidson, maybe if they don't play, you can put them in your back pocket, and who knows, maybe in a few weeks they'll play a makeup game and you'll be able to attend at a better time. Let's take callers 4 and 5 right now. 803-404-6100 is how you can do that. Again, game scheduled for 3 o'clock today. We'll try and keep you updated here over the next 2.5 hours if any information comes down on the Gamecocks and Davidson later on today, scheduled for 3 over at Founders Park. 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in. One of the things, again, going back to tonight, well, let me take you back to last night because I want to go back to a point. Obviously, last night, college basketball, I mentioned Illinois and Purdue was the big game. Number 3, Purdue goes into Champaign last night, wins 77-71. You also had number 13, Auburn, blowing out Missouri, 101-74. Missouri staying defeated in conference play. What a turnaround. You talk about the turnaround for South Carolina this year in terms of going from 11-21 to where they are now. Missouri 0-17 in conference this year. Dennis Gates, a name that was mentioned prominently around here when it came to the coaching discussion after the departure of Frank Martin. Dennis Gates and Missouri 8-22 overall and 0-17 in conference play. If you're wondering, Missouri going for a fully defeated conference season Saturday night at LSU. If you so feel the need, you can tune in 8:30 on the SEC network to see Missouri go for a complete defeated SEC conference season. But the Auburn Tigers there, they continue to roll along. 13th ranked Auburn rolls 101-74 last night. Kansas, in terms of national attention, they thump Kansas State 90-68. That game was in Fog Allen Fieldhouse. The big one as it pertained to the SEC last night, Alabama goes on the road to the Florida Gators, that team that we just saw here in Columbia. Florida at home hosting number 16 Alabama, and Florida handles the Crimson Tide. 105-87 last night was the victory for Florida. That opens up a little bit more room when it comes to the SEC standings and South Carolina. You heard me mention South Carolina playing tonight for first place in the SEC. Right now, as it stands, Tennessee 13-3, South Carolina 12-4. Both teams obviously have 4 losses. South Carolina would have the tie break. I believe if things played out in both teams, if Tennessee were to lose on Saturday, it wouldn't matter. But Tennessee right now 13-3, South Carolina 12-4. So that's why first place is on the line. Auburn is at 12-5, and Alabama is at 12-5 right now. Kentucky 11-5 in conference. As long as my understanding by reading everything, as long as South Carolina splits this week, they will finish with a top 4 bye. They would finish with a top 4 bye. They need to split this week and not go 0-2. Obviously, if they won tonight or on the road at Mississippi State, that would lock them up into a top 4 bye and not play until Friday of the SEC tournament next week. But last night, Auburn thumped on the road by Florida. Florida now 11-6 in conference. That should secure Florida into the NCAA tournament as well. Kentucky, by the way, 11-5, 21-8 on the season there. And that's who you've got as your top 6 teams in the SEC. After that, after Florida, who's 11-6, there's kind of a drop-off. Mississippi State, LSU, both 8-8. Texas A&M, 7-9. Mississippi, 7-10. And then it falls to Georgia, 6-11. Arkansas, who's having an awful season, 5-11. 8-3, 5-11, and then Vanderbilt 3-13, 8-21 on the season. And you heard me talk about Missouri. 803-404-6100. One thing for tonight: what does Rick Barnes need to say about this? He talked yesterday about scouting South Carolina and what he sees. Here's Rick Barnes yesterday talking about the Gamecocks.
But one, how well they're coached. A team that doesn't commit a lot of mistakes. A team that knows exactly what they're looking for. Team that can very quickly exploit the matchups that they want to get if you do a lot of switching and they get you in a position where they can get the switch they want. They took great advantage of it here in a lot of different ways, but just extremely fundamental. Plays the pace that they want to play with, and Lamont has done just an incredible job, one of the great jobs, coaching jobs, not just this year, but as long as I've been in basketball, watching what he's done and the way he's turned it around and where they are today. But they're just, and they got good players. Don't make no bones about it. They've got good players. You wouldn't be able to be where they are today in this league because it's, again, we've talked about how competitive it is in this league, maybe the most competitive ever. For them to be playing for a championship speaks volumes not only about the players but also the coaching staff. Coach on.
That's Rick Barnes giving a lot of praise to Lamont Paris, who is earning it. I would assume, look, even if Lamont Paris doesn't win from the media, SEC Coach of the Year, Jen, what I think is we should all band together, all of us, and create a trophy. Maybe kind of one of those home projects, some glue, some crayons. We create our own trophy for Lamont Paris because you hear Rick Barnes, they're giving him credit. And there's a lot of coaches and a lot of people nationally who are giving Lamont Paris credit for the job he's done. Lamont Paris has stepped onto the national stage this year, at least this year. Remember these things. They're fluid. Got to follow it up next year.
Yep.
But right now, Lamont Paris is a name that a lot of national pundits, the national media, are talking about. That's why, again, why I say tonight is such a huge opportunity to really showcase the program.
I don't disagree. And when you go back to talking about the some kind of a trophy, I did take one ceramics class.
Okay.
So, if it doesn't have to be a tall trophy, I can manage this for him. If it can be maybe just a couple inches high, I might be able to do that before it collapses. So just let me know, and I'll go in and I'll whip something up.
I'm sure he would love a trophy from the early game.
I think it'd be really fun, actually.
Made by Jen Jensen and former ceramics standout. What years were this? What was the
I
ages?
actually did it last year.
Last year. Okay. All right.
And I actually have a few things that I haven't given away yet. So maybe I could look through my collection because there are several pieces that are available. Maybe I have something that's more like a plate, but like a little plate, like a little tiny. I'm trying to lose weight, so I'm only going to put a tiny piece of cake on it, size plate. But
okay.
You let me know. I'll serve it up for you.
So good news, everybody. If Lamont Paris is dissed by the national media and the SEC media,
We got him covered.
The early game has him covered. We are here to make sure coaches feel good about themselves. 803-404-6100. We'll get you a little Braves report. Some news from Ronald Acuna Jr. yesterday. Again, coming up later on this morning at 7:30, Trey Kelly, former Gamecock point guard, will join us. You're listening to Bill Gunner. She's Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
The Game Network.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
Also on the 107.5 The Game app and streaming live on The Game TV. Ever been on this date?
You're a good-looking man.
Thank you.
Very pretty. Real soft, delicate features. They're real feminine.
And thought, man, I'd rather be...
On the baseline, shoots it up over Vanover. Got it!
I take a lot of pride in being from South Carolina. It's part of why I chose the school. I just want them to know, man, I got love for this school. I think the school loves me as well. And just a guy that gave it his all while he was here and just made continuous improvement. And just a winner, man. A guy that really wanted to win and left it all on the court every time.
Everyone says they care about the team and they care about winning, but, you know, I think this group especially is all about winning.
When I'm in the huddle with my teammates, when we're on the road, when we're going up against somebody, I just always tell them, be us. Be who we are. Don't try to be nobody else. Like, you can look at it and be like, well, doing something right now. You know what I'm saying? We just want to stay on that path. You know, stay on that path to greatness and stay on that path to march.
Who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
There's something remarkable about the University of South Carolina. It's in the labs, where researchers are discovering ways to make communities healthier and stronger. It's in the nation's best first-year student experience and top-ranked programs in nursing and health sciences. It's where more South Carolina students have access to higher education than ever before. Because when you stand for something bigger than yourself, you can create something that benefits us all. Behold, the remarkable we.
Snakes, rodents, and mold all live and grow beneath your home and eventually will find their way inside. Canty Foundation Specialist is your local trusted expert in crawl space sealing. Call us today for a free estimate.
Canty can fix it.
Moisture and high humidity in your crawl space create an environment for mold and mildew and affect the air you breathe inside your home. Call Canty for a free inspection today at 753-1495 or visit cantycanfixit.com.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
When you're rolling Charmin, ultra soft on the party. This is more, so roll it back, everybody. Charmin's irresistibly soft and hella nice. Our grip is always soft. It's our party vice. So everybody wanna touch the sky.
Charmin Ultra Soft is irresistibly soft and more absorbent, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
The early game.
With Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Need to let you know if you don't already. Coming up April 5th, we will have our spring golf tournament. 107.5 The Game. You're welcome to play. We want you to come out and join us. It'll be a Friday morning. It's the weekend of the Final Four. April 5th at Charwood Golf Club, and we hope to see you. $400 per team, captain's choice. You can call out to Charwood today and get your team signed up. This tournament fills up fast every year. It's one of our favorites. We have this one, and then we have the one in August, and we want to see you. We will have a mimosa bar sponsored by Saki's Wine and Spirits, so that'll be a lot of fun. Preston, myself, Jen, we'll all be out there broadcasting early on in the morning. You can meet all your favorite ugly 107.5 The Game celebrities. You can come out and see just how awful we look and how the live streams.
Celebrities?
It's a loose term for celebrities, isn't it?
That's really pretty loose, yeah.
But apparently I've got to go down to 5 points in 2 weeks for St. Patrick's because a celebrity here has got to stand out there with the 107.5 The Game truck for a little bit and hang out at the St. Patrick's Day event in the morning.
Are you Irish?
No, but I can drink like I'm Irish.
Oh, I know that.
I have that before. I have that in me. But
stating the obvious.
Yeah, but no, 107.5 The Game spring golf tournament out at Charwood. Again, we will have breakfast for you that morning. We'll have lunch in the afternoon, but we need to get you signed up now. These spots go fast. We've had a blast. We're going to have raffle prizes, all kinds of things taking place. We'll give you more information as we roll along this month.
Maybe I'll start making the trophies now.
Yeah, well, we have trophies, we have raffles, we have prizes.
For the last place team,
We do have
the
that. They have the at least in the past we've done the dead bleep last.
Oh, okay.
Where you get the donkey's rear end trophy, I believe.
Yeah, and I've seen one where several years ago we did one that it was basically just a toilet bowl. So that was also a last place.
We will have
prize.
Trophies. So bring your A team. $400 per team. You can sign up by calling Charwood today. 803-755-2000, 755-2000. Call Charwood. Get your team in today. This tournament fills up fast. We got about 26 spots that we will sell out for it. Again, we'll be broadcasting out there. We'll have a mimosa bar with Saki's Wine and Spirits sponsoring that. We will have, of course, breakfast and lunch for you. It'll be a fun day leading into Final Four weekend. Of course, the Masters is the following weekend. Heritage is the weekend after that. So make sure you get signed up today. Call out the Charwood Golf Club, 803-755-2000, and sign up your foursome. That is $400 per team. $400 per team. So call it to Charwood today. That'll be April 5th. Tee time will be 10 a.m. on April 5th. We'll continue to tell you about that as we roll through the month of March. 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in on the Love Chevy phone lines. Kentucky Joe says, as a Kentucky fan, giving these Kentucky Joe, I want Tennessee to win. As a Gamecock fan, I want the Gamecocks to steamroll Tennessee. I'd love it to be the Gamecocks for the Gamecocks for the rights to win the title game. So there you go. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in. One thing we do want to do this year is kind of keep you a little bit more updated on this program, on the Atlanta Braves. Want to make them a little bit more of our program. And yesterday, in spring training, they took on the Detroit Tigers, a 3-0 victory. Charlie Morton getting the start, pitched 2 2/3 innings, giving up 2 hits, no earned runs, struck out 3, walked 2. Braves are off today. If you want to catch them, they are on television tomorrow, 1 o'clock. They'll take on the Boston Red Sox tomorrow in a spring training game, but no Atlanta Braves playing today. Ronald Acuna Jr. coming down with a little bit of an injury. He spoke yesterday. He actually tricked some of the reporters, hobbled up using a bat as a cane, and then kind of Willy Wonka'd himself off and seemed to be perfectly fine. Here's Ronald Acuna yesterday speaking with reporters about the current meniscus injury he has in his right knee and his availability should he be back for opening day.
I feel great, I feel like nothing happened, but I feel great. That's what I'm going. I go there to see doctor. He got the confidence. I got confidence too. But I feel like nothing happened. I don't know when I play a game, but I feel like I can feel like I can play today. I can play every day. But when they told me you can play, I play every day. For me, that's important because I wanna play every day. I wanna play in the opening day, of score 100%. No, I feel great.
So Ronald Acuna Jr. says he feels great. He is ready to go. He is fired up. He is ready to go. No problems. Braves will open the season, of course, on March the 28th at the Phillies. It'll be the Phillies season opener as well. They got a couple games coming up in Korea, I believe, on March 20th, 21st, 22nd in that area. But the Braves and the Phillies will start the season here 4 weeks from tomorrow, March the 28th. Braves will then go on a road trip after the Phillies. They'll go on a road trip to start for their second series of the season against the White Sox before the first home games of the home stand of the season. Diamondbacks on the 5th, 6th, and 7th. They'll have the Mets the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. But we'll try and cover the Braves a little bit more, keep you updated on that as we roll along here. But we'll talk more basketball. South Carolina, Tennessee tonight. Number 4, number 17 over at Colonial Life Arena. We'll keep discussing that. Trey Kelly due up in the next hour. It's the early game. As a reminder, with baseball taking place, you can go to 1075thegame.com and register for the Palmetto Citizens FCU Grand Slam giveaway. That's right. Every game is $25. It's added to the pot. And if a South Carolina hitter gets a home run, you know what? You can win all of the cash in the pot. Right now, the pot is at $300. See, there's $25 more after last night. No Grand Slam last night. So go to 1075thegame.com and register for the Palmetto Citizens FCU Grand Slam giveaway. Again, every game that there's no Grand Slam hit, $25 more will be added to the pot, and you can win all the cash in the pot. All you need to do is go to 1075thegame.com and register. Again, that pot sits at $300 right now. Make sure you register this morning. You never know. Might be a game this afternoon against Davidson. Again, go to 1075thegame.com.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
It's time to experience the thrill of the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com. It's free to play. Play for fun and no purchases necessary. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions.
Design of new pool construction to care and maintenance of hot tubs and existing pools, including liner replacements, equipment repair, and upgrades, Pete Wine Pool and Spa brings 30 years experience to the table. The name is Ale Wine. 2 beverages, ale and wine. Pete Wine Pool and Spa. We're on Sunset Boulevard in Lexington. You'll find us on Facebook and online at PeteLWinePools.com.
We are the Veterans Health Administration, and our hands provide life-changing care to over 9 million veterans across more than 1,200 facilities nationwide. Join hands with us to make an impact in your community. Learn more at vacareers.va.gov.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
Definitely a sloppy morning today. We are lots of rain in the forecast and already accidents out there. Screaming Eagle Road, at Coon Road, also I-26 eastbound at Harbison Boulevard, exit 103. I-20 westbound at Two Notch Road, that's exit 74. And then at I-20 westbound at Alpine Road, 76B, an accident there. I-20 westbound and eastbound at Broad River Road, the left lanes are blocked both directions. So if you can map out an alternate route, that would be fantastic. We're going to see rain off and on today, heavy into this morning, and then continuing this afternoon. Right now, 59 on the early game.
Eastover, Columbia.
Hey, this is Carolina men's head golf coach Bill McDonald. You're listening to WNKT FM 107.5, the home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus media station.
The early game.
With Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Shin Jensen.
There's a handful of people out there, or a footful of people, who have decent looking feet. And what did Bill say?
Yeah, in college. Thought I had some good looking feet about then. That was, about 20 years ago.
What happened? How'd you get all mangled?
It's not there like that bad. I mean, back then, that was the height of my foot beauty.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
It has the feel of a Friday before a football game for me a little bit. I
don't disagree.
It's exciting to have meaningful college basketball in March on a Wednesday. Boy, does work. If South Carolina wins tonight, if you own a business and you have Gamecocks that are employees of yours, I would kind of anticipate work production dropping off tomorrow. It's great. This is fun. We have not had this in a very, very, very long time. I would say almost back to 96, 97. I know that Frank Martin's teams in 2015, 2016, 2017, but even then, it was a fight, man. I don't know if people remember, especially that 2016, 2017 team coming down the stretch. They were fighting to get into the NCAA tournament. They were fighting, scrapping, and clawing like crazy. Not Lamont Paris's team tonight. Lamont Paris's team will play a game with the SEC regular season championship on the line, with a bid into the NCAA tournament locked up, with probably, again, they're not locked into a top 4 seed in the SEC tournament just yet. Need to win one game this week, but with a lot of things secure. And that makes tonight all the more fun. And that's what makes today a lot of fun. If you're going to the game tonight, get down there early, make the vibe a good vibe outside of the stadium, because it's a great opportunity. I say not to the nation, but with some recruits coming in. Again, Isaiah Henry, a 4-star wing out of North Carolina. You've already got commitment Eli Ellis. They're probably keeping that list a little bit tight-lipped, but there will be some other guys coming into care. This is the opportunity for Lamont Paris to move the program forward. And it doesn't have to be with a victory tonight. If they lose, it's not a lost cause. What it is about the presentation. What tonight to me is about the presentation of what South Carolina basketball can be. Because I've said I would prefer, for different reasons, a smaller arena, a state-of-the-art arena. And I'm not arguing with anyone on that this morning, but Colonial Life Arena, when you put 17,000 in it, and I have said in the past, probably nobody remembers, but I've said that the area, the vista that's around it, some of the restaurants, the bars, it can make for a great pregame. It can make for one of the best pregame experiences in the country, because of how people can come together and how they can tailgate before the game and how they can enjoy food and get fired up for the game. tonight to me is about the presentation of the University of South Carolina basketball. And you go out and you showcase it to recruits, they go, man, I want to go there. Look at the excitement that fan base has. Lamont Paris, we've had him, a lot of y'all. Someone texted in earlier and said I could talk to Lamont Paris for hours. This is a situation where, again, to me, it's an opportunity for Lamont to put his program front and center in front of important basketball players who keep this momentum going into next season and the year after, and actually building something. And if you lose, you don't want to lose, but if you lose tonight, you know what? Guess what? We're still going to be fired up for the NCAA tournament in 2 weeks. We're still going to be fired up for the SEC tournament in Nashville next week. Everything stays in front of you. So a lot of fun tonight. A lot of fun. We'll continue talking about that. Trey Kelly due up here in about 25 minutes, former Gamecock point guard who played on some really good teams, had a lot of fun. But even those games weren't necessarily in March all that important. It was the ones that they played up in New York in the NIT tournament that were a lot of fun. But tonight, again, a great opportunity for the University of South Carolina, for Lamont Paris to showcase his program. And as I was saying, Lamont, I think, can be as good as any coach when he goes into a recruit's living room, when he has something really behind him to sell and say, look at this building, look at the fan base, look at the atmosphere you can come play in.
Look at this quarter zip. That's
true. Look at the fashion around here.
Just saying, gotta hit the important things too.
So good night. Should be a lot of fun tonight. Hope a lot of you go down. Be safe out there. Obviously, rainy morning, going to rain throughout the day. We'll try and keep you updated throughout the day on the updated South Carolina-Davidson baseball games. That's scheduled for 3 o'clock as we hit the 7 a.m. hour here. As you would expect, no updates out of South Carolina on whether that game will be played, but we'll try and keep you updated throughout the day, or at least throughout the morning. 803-404-6100. Again, we'll talk a lot of basketball. Big basketball morning. Trey Kelly due up at 7:30. Elijah Campbell will join us from Greenville. The SEC women's tournament gets going later on today. South Carolina not playing until Friday. They've got the noon game on Friday against Mississippi State or Texas A&M, so they've got a nice 2-day bye. And but we'll catch up with Elijah Campbell coming up here at the top of the hour. Coming up next hour, Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider will join us at 8:15. Not only will we get his Vegas thoughts on tonight's South Carolina-Tennessee game, but we'll also look at who some of the teams going into the NCAA tournament, kind of long shots, if you will, that he likes taking a little bit of pizza money, as he called it, and putting it on them for maybe a long shot national championship. He almost hit a couple last year. He had the Miami Hurricanes in there last year as one of his long shots, and obviously they got all the way to the Final Four. So we'll catch up with Brian Edwards of Vegas Insider at 8:15 this morning. Coming up at 8:30 this morning, we'll talk with Wes Rucker of Go Vols 247, and we'll get the Tennessee perspective on things as well. 803-404-6100. Some other news around the country yesterday, something that pertains to a lot of us 40-year-old men. EA Sports College Football 25. A bunch of us grew up playing the EA Sports College Football. I know I was actually asking my son over the weekend, Austin, if it was available to be pre-ordered from GameStop. He did the research. He said no. That's how fired up we are about it. I am surprised at this news, and this is interesting, and I'm not real sure where to take it, so I'm interested in your feedback. 803-404-6100. Arch Manning, who is a massive name and nothing else. I mean, that's the truth on Arch Manning. He is a massive name and nothing else. He threw 5 passes last year. Big-time high school recruit, the son of Cooper Manning, the nephew of Eli and Peyton Manning. That's really what he is. He is not a premier quarterback. He is not a dominant quarterback. He has done nothing at the college level that really makes us think, okay, this guy is the second coming of an incredible quarterback. What he does have is a name. He opted out. He has opted out, according to multiple sources, of being in EA Sports College Football's 2025 game that's being released this July. That's cool. I have no problem with that. I do wonder, though, he says the reasoning. Now, money is not an issue, so I get it. I totally get it on this. Money is not an issue for Arch Manning. But I do wonder, the reasoning, according to multiple sources, is he does not want to be in the game until he is the man at Texas. And obviously they have Quinn Ewers, who is a top Heisman candidate coming back here in 2024. but Manning only attempted 5 passes in one game last year. Says he wants to wait, according to sources, until he is the guy at Texas. Is that egotistical? Is that smart? It feels like he'll get more questions. We have nothing to ask him about in terms of actual football discussion. We're not going to ask him, well, how do you think about this play, that play? What do you think you got to get better? Like, it feels like that brings more attention on him. Jen, you deal with me every morning. I might have a tad ego. Is this egotistical to say, no, I don't want to be in the college football playoff game until I am the starting quarterback, until I am the man for my team?
Yeah, that just makes it about him. And everybody is now talking about him. He's focused. Okay, that's fine. You can be focused and whatever, but how hard is it to read over a piece of paper or have your family read over the piece of paper and sign it and be a part of it? Like, I don't know. I kind of just think he can do what he wants. Absolutely. He has a choice, but I'm with you. I just think that just puts a lot of focus on him and kind of unnecessarily. Little ego.
And I'm not picking on him. I'm just using Dante Reno as an example, or Robbie Ashford, whoever's the backup quarterback at South Carolina. Nobody would care. Arch Manning, this is. I will discuss it for a few minutes only because of the name. As Rick says, only because of the name. Only because of the name. If this was Gunnar Stockton at Georgia, nobody would care. Name other backup quarterbacks around the country. Nobody would care. This will be a little bit of a story because of the name and because, like, who cares? You're going to hold your name out. It comes to me. There's something about it that makes me view him differently, and I don't know if I'm wrong on that. And that's, again, I think I said this yesterday. That's why I love doing a sports talk radio show, because sometimes, occasionally, I am wrong. But I want to hear others' opinions on this, because it does come across as egotistical. It comes across as self-centered, all about me. No, I don't. If I'm not the man, I don't want to be in the game. If I can't be on the cover, I'm not. He didn't say this, but if I can't be on the cover of the game, no, I don't want to be on it. It comes across very egotistical to me.
Yeah, he could have just said, you know what? I'm just looking to have a pass. Why is that? I'm just not interested in being a part of it. Leave it at that. But the explanation is what gets him.
Interesting. And I think for those of us who actually will enjoy playing the game, and I appreciate William helping me out here, says you can pre-order EA Sports College Football 25 at some GameStop locations. And he says on Arch Manning, 1,000% egotistical. Cody says, when I heard he was opting out, I was racking my brain trying to figure out a reason why. I'm not sure wanting to be the man is a good reason. Richard goes the other way. He says, love it, because he's smart in how he's trying to build his brand. Wants a solid foundation before his name is out there nationally on anything. His name's out there.
But it's not like it's his game or a game just about him. I mean, it's a bunch of college athletes, or, it's a bunch of football players. So why can't you be a part of that? Again, it's not focused on him. I could see if it's going to be the Arch Manning game or, the Manning game, EA Manning, whatever. But it's not just about him. So
it's just interesting. It's just, it doesn't.
Kind of weird.
Not
a big deal.
It's gotten some national publicity because his name is Arch Manning, and because Arch Manning is Arch Manning, and who his uncles are, not even who his dad is. He's going to be discussed and talked about. No matter what he does, whether he makes it at Texas or whether he transfers anywhere else. 803-4.
If he ever becomes really successful, do you think he gets some type of a sponsorship deal with McDonald's?
That would be a better NIL. But would he wait on that until he's the man?
Until he has 2 arches in his name?
That's right. There you go. Good job. Look at Jen getting that. 803-404-6100. Ray? Yeah, Ray, that's what we're saying. If his name was Joe Smith, nobody would care. If his name was Gunnar Stockton, nobody would care. If his name was Christopher Vienza, the backup, no other backup quarterback. I don't think there's another backup quarterback that will receive as much attention as Arch Manning this season. But that's what comes with your name. That's exactly what comes with your name occasionally. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in this morning. The other story yesterday that I'm trying to digest and process is this Dartmouth story on Dartmouth joining a union. Dartmouth basketball players voting to join a union. I don't know what this means at this point, and because it's Dartmouth, it's irrelevant. I just wanted to bring it up The Dartmouth men's basketball team voting 13-2 to join a local service employees union, marking the first time any group of college athletes has taken a public action as employees of their school and potentially setting a precedent that could significantly alter the business of college sports. I guess we'll monitor this, but I couldn't even start to tell you where this is going to go, only also because I don't know what the relevance of the NCAA will continue to be moving forward. 803-404-6100. That's just some other news and notes. We'll get back into basketball. Trey Kelly due up here in about 15 minutes. You're listening to the early game.
The Game Network.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
Also on the 107.5 The Game app and streaming live on The Game TV. Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV.
Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality.
The Game TV.
Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. Well, you've heard me talk a lot about the HVAC systems that they have and how you can get a great deal right now, such as no payments, no interest until 2025. That's right. That's right. If you're looking for a new heating and air unit, there's no better time to call AAA Heating and Air than right now, because they will offer you the year of 2024, 100% financing with 12 months, no payments or no interest. You won't pay a penny until 2025. So go ahead, beat the seasons with AAA Heating and Air. You can even get a free replacement estimate today. Call AAA Heating and Air, 803-677-1500. Again, that's 803-677-1500. Again, if you're worried about cost, you shouldn't be. But their guaranteed financing options, comfort is always within your budget. And again, you've got a great deal going on right now. 12 months, no payments or interest in 2024. Call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence, knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Plus, text section with approved credit call 866-243-4623 for detail. We interrupt this broadcast with an important news alert. There's a slasher on the loose. JT's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram is slashing prices. New Rams were $12,000 off, slashed to $14,000 off. New Jeep.
On the baseline, shoots it up over Vanover. Got it!
I take a lot of pride in being from South Carolina. It's part of why I chose the school. I just want them to know, man, I got love for this school. I think the school loves me as well. And just a guy that gave it his all while he was here and just made continuous improvement. And just a winner, man. A guy that really wanted to win and left it all on the court every time.
Everyone says they care about the team and they care about winning, but, I think this group especially is all about winning.
When I'm in the huddle with my teammates, when we're on the road, when we're going up against somebody, I just always tell them, be us. Be who we are. Don't try to be nobody else. Like, you can look at it and be like, well, doing something right now. You know what I'm saying? We just want to stay on that path. Stay on that path to greatness and stay on that path to march.
Now, save up to 20% on brand new orders.
Chapin Furniture's Motion Madness sale going on through March 30th. Shop online at chapinfurniture.com or take I-26 to exit 91A in Chapin and look for the big red chair.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with
Got some attention with the Arch Manning thing.
products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ziprecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
What a messy day to be out on the road. I-26 eastbound and westbound after Broad River Road, the 2 left lanes are blocked in both directions. So if you can map out a different route, that'd probably be advisable, but definitely expect slowdowns if you're heading through there. Again, I-20 east and westbound, 2 left lanes are blocked. I-20 westbound at Alpine Road, an accident there, as well as at Two Notch Road on I-20 westbound. I-26 eastbound at Lake Murray Boulevard, exit 102, a tie-up there. I-77 northbound in 2 places, exit 2, and then up at exit 22. An accident there as well, and Screaming Eagle Road at Coon Road. Rain today, take a little break midday, and then head back into more rain later. High of 59.
The early game
with Phil Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Reminder coming up. April the 5th at Charwood Golf Club. It'll be the Spring 107.5 The Game Golf Tournament. You need to go ahead and sign up today. Spots will go fast. $400 per team. 803-755-2000 is how you can call it to Charwood and get your team registered today. Again, that's 803-755-2000 is how you can call Charwood and get registered. It is April 5th, 10 a.m. tee time. We will have a mimosa bar to start the morning along with breakfast by Saki's Wine and Spirits. We'll have lunch for you, raffle prizes, giveaways, all kinds of cool things. You need to continue to listen to 107.5 The Game here for more information, but we will have plenty of that. If you want to join us, call Charwood today and get your team registered. These spots will go fast. You call out 803-755-2000. That's how you can call Charwood and get your team registered today. Again, $400 per team. 803-404-6100. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we'll have a short segment here, and then we will get to Trey Kelly. A lot of basketball talk, obviously, already this morning as we've been discussing South Carolina and Tennessee, and a lot more of that to come. Trey Kelly due up here in about 8 minutes, and then Brian Edwards, a Vegas insider, to take a Vegas look at tonight's game, and Wes Rucker from Vols, Go Vols 247 coming up in the 8:30 segment to look at the Tennessee side of things. So we've covered a lot of the basketball this morning, and we'll continue to do so, but was bringing up the Arch Manning situation, just kind of interesting. Let's go out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Chris wants to weigh in on Arch Manning. Chris, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Yeah, just wanted to kind of take a step back and try to look at it from his point of view. And, it's hard for us to put ourselves in that situation. I don't have a family member, especially not a brother and dad that famous. Especially not for something that I'm trying to do myself. I can imagine the pressure on him. But, coming from the high school level, I'm sure he was the man. When he was in playing Pee Wee League or whatever it was, he was always the man. And I kind of look at it from, maybe he feels like he hasn't earned the right to represent his team, and he wants to earn that right. And it's not maybe it's being so egotistical. He doesn't want his name only to be the reason people try to play him on that game. Maybe he wants to be the starting quarterback, and that's the number one reason people want to play him as part of Texas team on that game. I kind of look at it too, some other things like, we are in this society, quick to be offended. I think I myself, I get offended a lot of times. And I think maybe just take a step back and, be less quick to be offended, maybe quicker to listen and try to understand his point of view. and slower to pass judgment and condemnation, so that we can kind of really try to seek to understand before we really try to throw our opinion out there against him.
Appreciate the phone call, Chris.
Very fair.
Back out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Andy wants to weigh in this morning. Andy wants to weigh in on Arch Manning. Andy, how you doing? What's on your mind?
I'm doing well. Kind of on the same lines as Chris. He realizes he's only played thrown 5 passes last year. So maybe, everybody else got him, see him as the man. Maybe because he knows he's only thrown 5 passes, he doesn't want to be involved or be played until he's actually playing on the field.
Totally understand. And that's no problem. That's no problem. Thank you for the phone call, Andy. Look, whatever his reasoning is, and a lot of y'all are weighing in on this, and y'all know how media is. Unfortunately for him, and again, thank you for the phone calls, Chris and Andy. This actually, I think, brings him more attention, media attention, and will get him more questions. Look, Quinn Ewers is the guy out there this year, undeniably. Quinn Ewers is going to be a very good should be a very good quarterback in season number 1. Should be a lot of fun to see him navigate the SEC. But just as we mentioned, nobody would care if Arch Manning's name was Gunnar Stockton or any other backup quarterback throughout the country. Not a single person would care at all. But Arch Manning, that's part of living with that fame. And unfortunately, I think more of the questions will come as to why he did this than, all right, what do you think? So what do you think about Georgia's defense or Michigan's? He's got to play. Remember, Texas plays Michigan, I think, in week 2. They got to play that. But we'll see. We'll see. Again, for Arch Manning, a lot to live up to. He should be the starting quarterback out there next year as soon as Quinn Ewers moves on and goes to the NFL. But I appreciate the phone calls and the contributions this morning from both of you. 803-404-6100. How you can weigh in. Matt says it's not complicated. You wanted more than $600. I don't think it's that. I don't think $600 to the Manning family is affecting him one way or the other. We will get back into basketball discussion, and we'll have someone who's played it, who understands it, and who knows it. Trey Kelly, former Gamecock point guard. He'll join us coming up next. I do want to talk about his perception of Talon Cooper. I'm not sure Talon Cooper's not one of the top 3 or 4 point guards to come here. I know it's only one season, but I'm not sure Talon Cooper's not one of the top 3 or 4 point guards to come through here in the last 40 years. We'll get Trey Kelly's take on that. You're listening to Bill Gunner, she's Jen Jensen. It is the early game.
The Game Network.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
Also on the 107.5 The Game app and streaming live on The Game TV. Yes, that phone in your pocket or purse will keep you in touch with your family and friends. It will take great selfies of you on amazing adventures or just this morning's breakfast. And it's pretty good in case of an emergency. But the single most important function of your phone is the game.
But both defenses have been this year. What's so funny? The noise.
You can listen anywhere. Just go to iTunes or Google Play and download the Game app now.
Bill Gunner for Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. And if you're like me, this time of the year, you'd rather do anything but clean your house. You want to be outside. Weather's nice. You want to watch the big basketball tournament that's about to take place. That's a lot of fun. You just want to spend time with your family. You don't want to do spring cleaning. But guess what? There is a spring hack to make your life easier, and they're called Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning with their patented ZR water technology that cleans better than detergents while leaving zero residue behind. Your carpets, rugs, tile upholstery, and everything will look sparkling clean, and you will have plenty of time to do whatever it is you like to do. So right now, you can take advantage of their spring sale. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $129, plus a free hallway. You can book online, zerorezcolumbia.com, or you give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. Again, that's zerorezcolumbia.com. Zerorez, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
It's time to experience the thrill of the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com. It's free to play. Play for fun and no purchases necessary. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions.
Plus, text second title with Proof Critical 866-243-4623 for detail. We interrupt this broadcast with an important news alert. There's a slasher on the loose. JT's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram is slashing prices. New Rams were $12,000 off, slashed to $14,000 off. New Jeeps were $10,000 off, slashed to $12,000 off. This just in. New Chargers and Challengers slashed $10,000 off. Now here's the weather. Whether or not your credit is cloudy, JT sees sunny days ahead. Nobody fights harder to get you approved. JT's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, Greystone Boulevard and 378 Lexington. Jeep Celebration event.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we know how serious injuries change people's lives. I'm Jason Reynolds. When you're involved in a major car or truck accident,
We're proud to offer locally owned Columbia locations serving fresh New York style pizza for over 30 years. Join us for a game or just to hang with friends. Pizza, wings, and cold beer are the best way to come together and celebrate life. Don't be an idiot. Eat local with the Village Idiot. 2 locations, 5 Points, and Olympia at the Mills.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV.
Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality.
The Game TV.
Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass.
Hey everybody, this is Dan Bespris, host of Fantasy NBA Today, a daily fantasy basketball podcast. We cover every box score from every game, every day, plus bonus shows on buy low opportunities, players to stash, schedule analysis, and really anything you could need to smash your league into deliciously tiny pieces.
Catch the Fantasy NBA Today podcast, part of the Believe Network, on YouTube or wherever you listen.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
Busy day out on the highway, a lot of little extra time if you can. I-20 eastbound and westbound after Broad River Road. There is an accident and the 2 left lanes are blocked in both directions. Also, I-20 eastbound at Longs Pond Road, I-20 westbound at Alpine Road, also at Two Notch Road, and I-26 eastbound at Lake Murray Boulevard, I-77 northbound at 12th Street, that would be exit 2. I-77 northbound before Killian Road at exit 22. 2 more to let you know about: Screaming Eagle Road at Coon Road and St. Andrews at I-26. So busy day out on the highways. Do be careful. Lots of rain throughout the day. Heavy rain this morning, maybe some storms this afternoon. Looking for a high of 68. It's 59 right now.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Eight 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in if you want to do so this morning as we effort Trey Kelly to get him on with us. Our good buddy Aaron Lucas weighing in this morning talking about Talon Cooper. He says Mike Boynton was very similar in how Boynton played and how he performed. And Boynton, a good friend of mine, I actually played against him in high school. He played for Bishop Laughlin. They came down here and played in the Charleston tournament. That's a good point. And it's interesting, though, to watch Talon Cooper perform and what he's done this season in terms of assists and being able to control the basketball team. And he does it, I believe, with kind of an old man style, an old man flair, if you will. It's not flashy. I think our good buddy Aaron Lucas, he was kind of flashy. He could get up above the rim. He played with a bit of flash. Our good buddy Trey Kelly, he could play with a little bit of flash. But Talon is a different kind of point guard that plays the game at his on speed. He's a bigger kid, and the way he performs is entirely different than some of the point guards we've seen. I think a lot of us, again, you watched that run of point guards that South Carolina really went through from Melvin Watson. If you go back to mid 90s, Melvin Watson to Aaron Lucas. I guess if you want to throw BJ in there for 1 year, but Melvin to Aaron to then you had Trey Kelly to then you had Devin Downey, and you go on through, and then it kind of evolved a little bit. You got into when Frank Martin really came in. You saw the bigger point guards, the Ty Johnson, PJ Dozier, obviously Rakim Felder for about a year, I believe. But Talon is a bigger sized kid. And going back to some of the statistics that I mentioned earlier, one of the big reasons South Carolina was able to defeat Tennessee back in January was Talon's defense against Zakai Ziegler, and the way he was able to shut him down. That was huge. That was massive in the way. And you go back to those numbers, I mentioned these earlier. In that game, Zakai Ziegler was not able to make a basket. He was 0 of 6 from the field. Now, he's not, obviously you've got Dalton Connect. Dalton is a huge, big-time scorer. We'll talk about that this morning again, but go back to the box score of that game. Maybe lost in it was the defense that Talon played on Zakai Ziegler, who played 32 minutes back in January for Tennessee. 0 of 6 from the field, 0 of 4 from three-point range. He just hit two free throws and finished with 2 points. He did have 3 assists in that game, but that was a situation there where, again, the way Talon controls the game. And if you go back to his numbers back in January, 33 minutes that night, 6 of 10 from the field. He was 4 of 5 from three-point range, had 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. And we all know Meechie Johnson, you need him to get going. You need Meechie to be a guy that is scoring and scoring profusely. You saw what he did on Saturday, 21 points there in the second half, kind of led South Carolina back, and he was red hot. And you certainly need that to continue tonight. But it brings me back to this. Where do we kind of look at Talon Cooper in that list of point guards that I just kind of gave to you? And you can go further back, obviously. You can go back to the Michael Foster days, and if you want to go back into the 70s and so forth and so on. But you start talking about what Talon has done this year. And I had those stats earlier from just several weeks ago as it pertained to his assist to turnover ratio. And you look at what he's done in terms of assists. Just a few weeks ago, Talon Cooper was doing as good a job as anybody, 4.2 assists per season or per game early on this season. And right now, he's actually bumped it up to 4.4. South Carolina hadn't had a point guard with a 4.4 assist per game average. I went back over the last 12 years and couldn't find it. I believe it was Devin Downey that was the closest way back in 08, 09. And you have a guy here, and again, because of his size, a totally different point guard. It was funny. I was actually showing my son Austin videos of Devin Downey the other day, and Devin at 5'9" controlled the game in an entirely different manner than Talon Cooper does. But I ask you, 803-404-6100, where do we start to put Talon Cooper in the realm of Gamecock point guards? He is different, again, physically different than Melvin. Somebody says Kerry Rich. Yeah, Kerry Rich was more in that size too. But where do we put Talon Cooper? Because he has been a big part of this, and he's not to get ahead of ourselves and to enjoy today and enjoy the rest of the season, he is going to be extremely hard to replace as we move forward, as South Carolina moves forward here in 2024, 2025 towards next season. But you see also the way that Lamont Paris lets him play and control the game. And that's really important. And again, he will be one of the guys that will be recognized tonight as part of senior night. Lamont Paris talking about that yesterday. This is Lamont talking yesterday about the seniors. You got Talon, you got BJ Mack, you got Stephen Clark. And tonight, Talon Cooper playing with his third team, played with Morehead State, played with Minnesota, and played now obviously with South Carolina. He'll be honored tonight. Here's Lamont Paris last night, not only talking about Talon Cooper and guys being recognized, but talking about the other seniors as well.
I always thought a certain way and felt a certain way about that. And, you're providing opportunities for these young men, right? Opportunities to play at a different level, opportunities to win more than they have, opportunities to be closer to home, all kinds of opportunities that you're providing for these young men. And it's amazing how close you can get to people in 1 year. And in fact, last summer, I went to the wedding of one of my former players at Chattanooga, who was a one-year guy. He had spent 3 of his first 4 years at the University of Kansas. He came to us for his last year, and he was with us for 1 year, and he wanted to make sure I was at his wedding. We got another guy, Matt Ryan, was a one-year guy for us at Chattanooga, transferred from Vanderbilt, played for 1 year for us. I think he calls me his coach when it's all said and done in the 1 year that I was there. So it's amazing how Hayden Brown, it's amazing how close Gigi Jackson was only here for a year. Right. It's amazing how close you can get to these guys in 1 year. And so we want to do a really good job with the senior day and showing appreciation for what these guys have helped us develop here as a program, not just what this team is doing right now, but years from now, these guys will be guys that people will look back on as being on the ground floor of the foundation that we've built.
You hear that? That's interesting. And it's interesting to hear Lamont Paris say that. Now, Gigi's a little bit different. Gigi's a little bit different because he didn't play for other schools, play for other coaches. But obviously, the way that he came in, and look, kudos to Gigi, by the way he's been performing in the NBA. But certainly with Talon Cooper, this is a young man, and I'm efforting. We're going, again, try and see what we can do here to get a couple guys on and get them going. I'm interested to hear former point guards. Aaron Lucas has already weighed in this morning. I'm going to try and get effort to get him on this morning. And Trey Kelly, I'm a big Talon Cooper fan. And we can, again, talk about the impact that Michi has had, the impact that BJ Mack has had, certainly the way that the 1-3-1 has impacted what other teams want to do. We saw that on Saturday against Florida. But I'm a huge Talon Cooper fan, and you look at the 23-24 stats so far. He's averaging 34 minutes a game, shooting 48% from the field. I think this is wildly underrated. Talon Cooper is shooting 46% from three-point range. He's averaging 4 rebounds, 4 assists, just 1 turnover a game, and he's right there, 9.8 points per game. His numbers have been fantastic, and he has been the catalyst, in my opinion, for what this team has been able to do. And I think it also shows you when Lamont Paris gets the kind of point guard he wants, that plays smart basketball, under control basketball, what this offense can do and how it can run. 803-404-6100. We'll get into a little bit of the girls, the women's side of things. They start the SEC tournament up in Greenville later on today. Elijah Campbell will join us. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It is the early game.
The Game Network. The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
Also on the 107.5 The Game app and streaming live on The Game TV. Got a take?
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line.
Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen.
803-404-6100.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
It is rainy today. It is awful. It is disgusting, and it only gets worse if you look up and you have a leak in your roof. That is absolutely miserable, not what you want at all. So you need to contact Mid-State Roofing. That's right. Get in touch with Mid-State Roofing today, 803-356-1919. For nearly 30 years, they've been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry, and they're ready to help you right now with a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week call center. You don't need to wait any longer. Go ahead, call Midstate Roofing today, 803-356-1919. You will speak with someone right now. They have a trained on-call technician ready to help you, and later on today, they'll have a Midstate Roofing staff member ready to set you up with a maintenance contract. So again, don't wait a day longer. Contact Midstate Roofing, because if you've got a leak, you need to let Midstate Roofing take a peek and get a little bit of leak detection. You see the rain out there. Don't let rain in your house. Call Midstate Roofing today, 803-356-1919.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. So what do ABC, Fox, NBC, Big Ten Network, FS1, and Peacock have in common? Caitlin Clark was involved in their highest-rated women's basketball games. A peak of 4.42 million viewers watched her last Sunday alone. In fact, she's such ratings gold that Fox reportedly considered helping craft a special name, image, and likeness package designed to entice Clark to stay in school. That's amazing. I'm Boomer Esiason. CBS Sports Radio.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey everyone, it's Joe Montana. Spreading the word about pneumococcal pneumonia, a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can be life-threatening. If you're 65 or older like me, you're at increased risk. So, what's the game plan? A strong defense. Pneumococcal pneumonia can strike at any time in any season, so you shouldn't wait to help protect yourself. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccination today and learn more at knowpneumonia.com. That's KNOW pneumonia.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hi, yes, I'll have the club sandwich and house salad.
You got it, sweetie. I'll throw in a pair of designer sunglasses as well.
Just lunch, thanks.
How about a week at my boss's oceanfront villa?
What?
When you join the South Carolina Education Lottery's Players Club, you get way more than you expect. More chances, more wins, and more surprises.
Today's special, a trip to low Earth orbit in a private spaceship.
Join the Players Club at seeducationlottery.com because more happens here.
Bill Gunner for Dr. Dan Balknight and the Men's Clinic. Getting older is never fun. You start experiencing some symptoms that you're not accustomed to. Maybe it's brain fog. Maybe it's low energy level. Maybe it's lack of drive and motivation. But at the Men's Clinic, Dr. Dan Balknight is ready to help you with an individualized treatment that will treat your needs. So give him a phone call today, 803-875-MENS. Again, that's 803-875-MENS, or visit him on the web for more information, mensclinicsc.com.
The early game
with Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Shen Jensen.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$7:47 as we roll along, and all right, we'll make a few adjustments. Coming up in the next segment, we'll be joined by former Gamecock point guard Aaron Lucas. We'll get his take on things as he's been listening this morning. Want to hear him as obviously we count down to a huge game tonight over at Colonial Life Arena. Should be a lot of fun. South Carolina and Tennessee. We've talked a lot about it this morning, and no lose situation. We'll get more into that as we roll along in the 8 o'clock hour. A lot of guests to join us. But right now, we go up to Greenville. Elijah Campbell is ready to join us.
Following the #1 ranked Gamecocks through the SEC Women's Tournament.
Live from Greenville, here's Elijah Campbell.
Sponsored by Cool Care Heating and Air. Don't miss your bank shot with your HVAC or plumbing. Check them out at coolcarehvac.com.
On the Game Network.
There we go. All right. You got the big tournament this week in South Carolina. Another undefeated regular season. Let's start with this, Elijah. Welcome in this morning. Glad you occasionally get up early to join us as a producer. Now you got to get up and make a phone call. But one of the things about this team that I have preached is that we gloss over now being undefeated. That Dawn Staley's team being undefeated, it's just okay, just another regular season, and it's going to be the same way this week up in Greenville for the SEC championship. Oh yeah, just another SEC championship. Your take on that and their season overall?
Well, it's amazing how casual being undefeated and how casual just buzzsawing your way to the SEC has been for this team. I mean, think about where you were, Phil, the last time the South Carolina team lost an SEC game. That was at the Kentucky game, or SEC championship game, multiple years ago. That game was in Nashville. I was living in a different state. It's been a long time. My life is way different now than it was the last time they actually lost an SEC game. And they've just made it incredibly casual. And this year it's a little different because I think the beginning of the season took people by surprise because I figured it would take a little longer for a team with a completely new starting five to gel. You know, usually you'll hit the monotonous part of the season in January and February, and flip-ups happen there, especially in your league where people know you better than you know you. But it just hasn't happened with this team. And it's a weird combination of this greatness becoming almost expected and casual and being taken by surprise that you basically rehauled a new starting five, threw in three different players who weren't here last year to play major rotation minutes with Full Wiley, Tessa Johnson, and then Tahina Paopao as a transfer. And not only have you transferred the lineup, you transferred how you play. You know, last year the shooting was your biggest weakness. This year it's one of your best strengths, and you have arguably the sharpest sharpshooter in the game right now as your point guard. And she's coming back next year too. So it's getting to the point where it is. You know, I compared them not just to UConn with the number of championships, but how you're just reloading every year. So while they might not be a blue blood of the sport, I think we can officially stamp them as new blood in terms of being a top three program and maybe the number one program in the sport in terms of the sustained undefeated success they've had the last 2 years.
I think one thing that we will learn this week and that Dawn Staley will use as a kind of experimental is teaching these women, because you mentioned the inexperience, how to play in a tournament environment, sitting around in the hotel room during the day, the transition from playing a noon game to having to get ready for the next opponent. That's the one thing that these women have to learn. Now, thankfully, in the NCAA tournament, you get the day in between. They'll play, like, say, on a Friday, then play on a Sunday or a Saturday, and then a Monday, however it may work. You get that one day. But your thoughts on that in using this week as a learning experience while also trying to win a championship, but that kind of turnaround where you play, you go to the hotel, your focus kind of has to stay a little bit more in check because it's time to get ready for the next opponent and play another game.
Oh, you're completely right. This is where the mental aspect of this comes in because you got to be able to scout well to win championships. And clearly they've done a really good job of scouting opponents when they've gone undefeated this year. And Dodd even gave the assistant coaches a shout out whenever they won the regular season title here after beating Alabama that they're undefeated on the scout so far. But now the players have to be just as in tune with gathering, scouting, and being able to make a quick turnaround and prepare for a game in 24 hours time, sometimes less. Like that can be pretty difficult, but this is where tournament championships are won. I mean, we see coaches in the men, women's game all the time. I mean, that's the biggest knock on somebody like Rick Barnes, so to speak, right? He has a hard time in a short turnaround setting of finding out the opponent and being able to adjust before the game starts instead of, at halftime when you've seen a 20-minute sample size of them. It's an underrated part of tournament play, and this is the best example they'll get to have because while they have a little bit of every team, and for some teams they play twice, so they know pretty well. They should have the book on Tennessee. They should have the book on, teams like Missouri if they were to, somehow play them, or Kentucky if they were somehow to play them, if they played them twice. But there are a couple teams that you've only, seen once, like Texas A&M. And that's a team that they could play on Friday because they play Mississippi State in that 8-9 game. And if you are to get Texas A&M, you can look at the film from the first time you played them, but you also got to look at their last couple of games and specifically the one from the day before. So, yeah, that's a very underrated, underspoken part of tournament play that kind of gets glossed over.
About a minute and a half left here with Elijah Campbell. We'll get the action underway later on today for you, Elijah. You'll kind of be hanging out for 2 days. Southcon doesn't play until Friday, and that's good. They can kind of rest and relax. Thoughts on tonight's action?
Yeah, so today we're going to start off with Kentucky and Georgia, the 12-13 game. I mean, two teams that have kind of struggled, and to me, Georgia's still underachieving a little bit. Kentucky's roster I never felt was that great. Asia Petty's a solid player, but I like Georgia in this one. Javin Nicholson, as we saw her come up to CLA just a few weeks ago and score 27 points and 12 rebounds and really be the star of that game. She earned all SEC first team honors. She scored 26 points in 3 of her last 5 games, so she's played really well. And my favorite thing about this Georgia team is they play a pack line defense, and those are hard defenses to score against. I like Georgia in that matchup. And then afterwards, about 25 minutes after the conclusion of that game, Florida and Missouri play the 11-14 game for the right to play Vanderbilt. And I like Florida in that one. Missouri's had a really tough year. Men and women, I mean, pick one. They both had really tough years. They both finished last in the regular season. Florida has a decent ceiling. They've kind of underachieved at times, but Leilani Correa, 6th Woman of the Year, I like what she brings to Florida's offense. I expect them to be playing Vanderbilt tomorrow.
Elijah, man, safe trip up there. Enjoy your time. We will catch up with you tomorrow morning to get a little bit of an update, and then obviously Friday morning leading into the women's game. Glad to have you up there, buddy.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Appreciate you guys having me on.
No problem. Take care. Hour 3 on the way. Former Gamecock point guard Aaron Lucas set to join us next. Continue to stay tuned. It's the early game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet
Punxsutawney Phil has an overall accuracy rating of 36% nationally. This was in 2021, 36% nationally. Now, those numbers can get skewed a little bit because in the Northeast, it tends to be colder for longer. But when you extrapolate his numbers out for the rest of the regions in the Southwest, the Southeast, Punxsutawney Phil, the fraud, only gets up to 50% nationally. Only 50%. You're saying, oh, what does that mean? That's still pretty good. It's not. It's not. There are 6 other rodent prognosticators that are above Punxsutawney Phil. Number 1, our guy, General Beauregard Lee. General Beauregard Lee has a 63% accuracy rating nationally, 70% when you extrapolate it for just the South. This guy is crushing Punxsutawney Phil, but yet we still are talking about Punxsutawney Phil. He's a fraud, Bill. He's a fraud. Not only that, Buckeye Chuck. This guy, Buckeye Chuck, is crushing. He's number 2. But you know who else is ahead of him? Let me go to my list.
Who exactly is Buckeye Chuck?
Buckeye Chuck is in Ohio, Bill.
Makes sense.
It's bad. Thank goodness we got
Buckeye
that
Chuck
one.
is in Ohio. But let's go to this list. We got Jimmy the Groundhog.
Oh, just Jimmy.
Jimmy the Groundhog. Lander Lil. Stormy the Marmot. Smomish Slew. Finally, after all of those guys, we come down to Punxsutawney Phil. But who gets all the credit? Who gets all the notoriety? Punxsutawney Phil. And it's only because he was there a long, long time ago. He was an originator. I'll give you credit. He was an originator. But the game of guessing and predicting weather has passed him by. He's a fraud. It's overrated. It's time for him to get out the game. Give the throne to General Beauregard Lee. All I'm saying is he's overrated. All of this celebration. These people.
Yeah, you got to get this live stream. We're watching.
It's not about.
How would you describe this?
There's a big
singer?
celebration on, but you know what about these people? It's not about the game anymore. It's about something else. They have ruined the celebrity prognosticator game for these rodents because these guys are working hard. Buckeye Chuck,
are they?
He's working. He's accurately predicting things. Beauregard Lee, 70%. And he can't get any love across the South. No love. Everybody talks about Punxsutawney Phil. I'm saying it right now. If Punxsutawney Phil gets this wrong today, get him out of here.
I'm going to go with the odds are not good.
Put him in the garbage. 36%, of course it's not good. It's what he does nationally.
Lanes blocked in both directions. So allow extra time, maybe even map out an alternate route if you can. We're seeing some rain this morning. Then it kind of clears around lunchtime, but then maybe later this afternoon, some thunderstorms coming in.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
Hey, this is South Carolina DQ Smith. You listen to 107.5 The Game, the home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus media station. The early game with Bill Gunter.
I love me some me.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
I don't yuck anybody's yums.
And Jen Jensen.
Let's play a little game real quick.
Oh boy.
Jen, somebody calls you and says, Bill's coming on with us. Bill Gunter's coming on with us later. How should we refer to him?
Schmo.
There you go.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Fine. I'm the one that can't do it. Kids, don't be like me. Be more like Jen.
Be tough.
Be tough. That's right. Unlike me, be tough.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$8 a.m. here as we get going on your Wednesday morning, getting you set up for a big game tonight. South Carolina set to host Tennessee. And joining us now to discuss it a little bit, a guy who played in a couple big games himself, whether it was high school, whether it was college, Lower Richland women's coach, Aaron Lucas joining us. Coach, how you feeling this morning? I know you're out there driving in the rain, so be safe while you're talking to us.
I'm doing pretty good. Just driving in this rain parking lot, trying to make my way to the Diamond Mine.
There you go, man. Well, I tell you what, we had you on in studio a couple weeks ago, but obviously thrilled to have you back on this morning to discuss this game. And just, man, a March game for South Carolina. You've grown up here from the Northeast. You've seen South Carolina basketball your whole life. What does it mean for a college basketball player to have a meaningful March game like this in your own building?
I mean, it's huge because of, what your early season goals are. And, you want to go into the end of the year with a lot of momentum, and having an opportunity to play in front of the home fans, playing your last game, the regular season, with, the record that you have and playing at a high level. It means a lot, and I'm sure the senior class is really going to enjoy this moment, and I hope the fans continue to rally around this team.
Most importantly for this, what I wanted to talk about with you this morning is the play of Talon Cooper as a guy who is a point guard who also played the off guard. But you sent that message to me about comparing him a little bit to Mike Boynton. How do you see Talon Cooper's game through the eyes of another point guard?
Well, I've made that comparison because I think about what Mike Boynton helped lead in that 2003-2014, and they both play very cerebral, not super athletic guys, but they almost think 3 and 4 steps ahead in the game, the preparation, everything else, i.e. why Mike Boynton has done a phenomenal job in his coaching career, because he's always thought like a coach and he played like a coach, and I really look at Talon more in that mold of what Mike Boynton brought to the Gamecock team.
That size, and I don't just mean being 6'4", but you see, because that is one thing. Mike was still a smaller point guard, but when you have that kind of size, and I don't know if you heard this morning, I was given those statistics on what he did to Sakai Ziegler up in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
No,
right.
Ziegler only had 2 points. There were 2 free throws. But for you, when you had to face a point guard, both height and just the physical stature of Talon, what does that do?
Well, at being 5'11", I believe if you're 6'1" and under, you really have to start looking at spacing and how the floor shrinks even more than it already is when you have other guys that are 6'6", 6'9", 6'10" out on the floor. So typically when you have a bigger point guard, now your passing lanes get smaller, your shot opportunities get quicker because of closeout. So I think having a bigger point guard disrupts, and I think that gets more underrated than what he's doing offensively is his impact defensively against other point guards.
Again, Aaron Lucas joining us for a few minutes this morning, and you hear that talk about, you say, so it's defense that you think is the biggest aspect in how he can control. By the way, the other part of that is with his size, and talk about this in terms of what you've seen Lamont Paris want to do. The fact that he's that size, he can switch off and guard others. Ball screens don't affect him as much or affect South Carolina as much as maybe some teams would do with his size.
Absolutely. I think, and I'm just thinking a little bit back to my senior year as well with what Dave Odom and the late Rick Duckett was doing with our team, having me switch off on a lot of bigger guards because of my length and athleticism. And not that I'm anywhere in the mold of Talon Cooper and what he's done defensively, but I think the opportunities to be able to switch and match up the same way you would, as how you normally start a game off, makes it challenging as well, because it takes away mismatches a lot of times when you have a lot of guys that can switch different positions, play different positions, and do it effectively on the defensive end. So what Coach Paris and his staff are doing, finding ways to make this team as effective as possible with the length and the size and some of the strategic things they're doing. It's really a phenomenal coaching job that he's done this year.
Talk about the 1-3-1 and Zach Davis up top, because obviously that really changed the perception and the momentum of Saturday's game against Florida. And I don't know I'm sure you were probably able to see it at some point, but your take on what you saw Saturday with Lamont Paris switching to that 1-3-1, and again, from a point guard perspective, how it really affected what Florida was trying to do.
Again, when you look at the length and the size, I'm a huge Zach Davis fan. I've been a fan of his since he was in high school, because he's multidimensional and can do a lot of different things on the floor. And, a 1-3-1 is, especially in college, is not a defense that you prepare against a lot, so you don't see it as often. But when you have the right pieces, and I think when you have guys that are 6'4" to 6'8", and they can all, interchangeably play different positions, a 1-3-1 is the ideal defense. And then from the offensive perspective, again, your passing angles are cut down. Typically in a 1-3-1, they're going to trap in the corners, the bottom corners and the top corners, the coffin corners, as we used to call them. And so it's very unpredictable defense. And then when you have guys that all look the same, that move the same, it really becomes a challenge to find the open gaps and the spots that you want to get to.
803-404-6100 if you want to send in any questions for Coach Lucas this morning as we talk with him and talking a little bit of schematics. What has impressed you most about the way Lamont Paris coaches this team and the demeanor that he displays on the sideline?
Well, he's got a calming spirit. I think that's the one thing that I've taken watching him transition from year one to year two. He has not changed. The strategy has been modified based on the players, and I think that goes back to, coaching, 101. He doesn't necessarily have a system per se. He has a culture, and he modifies the system based on the players, but the culture and the identity never changes. And so, when you have the opportunity to kind of handpick the guys that fit the culture, then you build the system around that once they buy into the culture. And I think these guys have done a great job of doing that. The development of CMB, who I've watched in high school, had an opportunity to train a few times, has really been a great addition as well. So when you have young guys starting to get experience and mature and the confidence along the way, this team has a great makeup, kind of like that 2017 team of really surprising a lot of people, or continuing to surprise a lot of people, making a deep run in the tournament.
Go back to that. I did not know that you just mentioned that you had a chance to work with Colin Murray Boyles and train him. What have you seen from the time you got him into your workouts to go along with where he is today in the development? I have to be honest. I never saw this coming in year one, his growth and the way he plays the game.
Well, the great Josh Staley brought Colin to me, I think his 9th grade year, transitioning to his 10th grade year, just to work on some small things that I do with a lot of players, around the state. And I saw him more as a, kind of a rigid, stiff guy that had a lot of high basketball IQ. Obviously, playing with Coach Staley, you have to have that. His brother was a phenomenal player at UNC Pembroke, and at AC Flora won a state championship, James Murray Boyle. So he has, the background to be a great player. And I think over time, once he started to grow and athletically started to develop a lot more, you could see certain things as he got older, but I had no idea that he would have this type of impact this early on. But again, I think that goes back to Coach Paris and the culture that they're building with the Gamecocks.
Just about a minute and a half left with Coach Lucas, Aaron Lucas, joining us this morning. You've been around Columbia basketball for a long time. You've seen South Carolina basketball. You've been a part of it. One of the things that I've preached this morning is the impact that tonight can have on the community and on recruits, Aaron, on recruits, to have 17,000 there, to have this kind of excitement, a big game. Your view from being a guy who went through the recruiting process, who's watched South Carolina basketball more up close and personal than a lot of us, what does this game mean, not for tonight, but for the future of the program? And it doesn't, to me, it's not about winning. It's about showcasing Lamont, showcasing the program, and showcasing the atmosphere at CLA. What's your take on that?
Well, I look back at the Cincinnati game, I believe, in 1997, when Antonio Grant hit the game-winning shot. And I was there on a recruiting visit, actually, and I think that kind of sealed the deal for me, the electricity of Frank McGuire Arena, seeing a lot of guys that, I looked up to from the high school standpoint play well. And that electricity in the building pretty much sealed the deal for me. And so, having home court advantage and having fans in the stands and really supporting the team the whole way through is a huge recruiting tool, because, kids want to come to a place where they feel like they can thrive and they feel appreciated. And I certainly believe if, these young men continue to play at the level that they're playing, Coach Paris continues to build the culture. And I look at a lot of what Don Staley has done on the women's side. That gives a great opportunity for people to feel like I can go here, be successful, feel welcome, feel wanted and appreciated, and have an opportunity to do some great things. So, I'm looking forward to it. This will be my first game I've been able to attend due to my season. So I'm looking forward to it as well.
Coach, we appreciate it. No, it's messy out there. Hope you get into the school safely today, and appreciate you kind of on the fly joining us, which you're good at. And we look forward to getting you back in studio here in the next few weeks.
Well, I appreciate y'all having me. Go Gamecocks, go Diamonds.
Take care. Aaron Lucas there joining us, head women's coach over at Lower Richland. Very good season for them as well. And a lot of great insight there on both the play of Talon Cooper as well as the game tonight. And the impact, that to me is the big thing. The big thing is the impact that tonight can have on the future of South Carolina basketball. It's an opportunity. It is a showcase opportunity for Lamont Paris. We'll talk more about that. But coming up next, we'll take the Vegas view of things. We'll go out to Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com, and we'll talk about the point spread tonight and how an outsider views this game tonight. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. You're listening to the early game.
The Game Network. The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
Also on the 107.5 The Game app and streaming live on The Game TV. The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Bill Gunner for the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. You know what? Just a few years ago, Jacob helped me. He got a great interest rate for me on the condo I live out live at in Lake Murray. And you know what? I couldn't recommend anybody more than the Mortgage Guru. The way he helped me, the way he made me feel comfortable with what we were doing, it was perfect. And he's ready to help you. And interest rates have stabilized right now, so there's no better time than to contact Jacob Crowder and First Palmetto Bank, 803-719-1005. They are locally owned and operated. It's right here in the Midlands, and that means Jacob has local decision makers, which for you means quick and precise underwriting. You won't have to take all that time. You can get answers right away. So make the move today and give Jacob Crowder a call if you're looking to purchase, 803-719-1005. And if you're looking to build, you know what? They have a great no-nonsense loan as well. Contact the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder, today, 803-719-1005.
1075 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence. You covered.
Stop by.
On the baseline, shoots it up over Vanover. Got it!
I take a lot of pride in being from South Carolina. It's part of why I chose the school. I just wanted them to know, man, I got love for this school. I think the school loves me as well. And just a guy that gave it his all while he was here and just made continuous improvement. And just a winner, man. A guy that really wanted to win and left it all on the court every time.
Everyone says they care about the team and they care about winning, but, you know, I think this group especially is all about winning.
When I'm in the huddle with my teammates, when we're on the road, when we're going up against somebody, I just always tell them, be us. Be who we are. Don't try to be nobody else. Like, you can look at it and be like, well, doing something right now. You know what I'm saying? We just want to stay on that path. You know, stay on that path to greatness and stay on that path to march.
$876.92 or playersclubsc.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality.
Two left lanes are blocked. That's I-20 westbound. I-20 eastbound at exit 51, Longs Pond Road, an accident there. Also I-26 eastbound after Broad River Road. I-26 eastbound at exit 102. Hopping over to I-77 northbound before Killian Road. Old Orangeburg Road at Two Notch Road. And one other to let you know about, and that's St. Andrews at I-26. The sloppy conditions will continue. Rain through maybe lunchtime. Looks like it clears for a few hours, and then some possible scattered storms later this afternoon, but looking for a high today overall of 68 and 73 tomorrow, sunny skies before rain back on Friday night. Right now, 59 with rain on the early game.
The early game with Bill Gunter,
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne,
and Jen Jensen, your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
As always, a reminder, you want to sign up, 107.5 The Game Golf Tournament coming to you April 5th out at Charwood Golf Club. That's right. It is our spring golf tournament. You want to get registered today. Spots go fast. $400 per team. Call and get registered. 803-755-2000. That's 803-755-2000. Preston, myself, Jen will be out there broadcasting live April the 5th. That is Final Four weekend, also the weekend before the Masters. We want to see you out there. Bring your best foursome. Come out and compete for some championships, some laughs. We have some great food. We've got mimosas sponsored by Saki's Wine and Spirits. It'll be a blast. So make sure you sign up. 10 a.m. tee time. 10 a.m. tee time, April the 5th. I do know, at least for Lexington 1, that is spring break weekend. Is there spring break week as well for the kids? So, shoot, bring your child up there. It's a family-friendly event. Put them on a team. Come out. We'll have a lot of special guests. More information as we roll along, but you need to sign up today because these spots go fast. 803-755-2000. That's how you can call Charwood today and get registered. $400 per team. 803-404-6100 if you hear something you want to weigh in on, such as right now, joined right now by VegasInsider.com's Brian Edwards, who he was on the Gamecock bandwagon, and I'll put you on the bandwagon well before a lot of people. You as you said, pizza money, a little bit of pizza money on the Gamecocks to win the national championship and some futures. And last year you were close. You had Miami in that. You had Miami in the Final Four, so you kind of know a thing or two that you're talking about. You're not too bad at this.
I had Kansas State at 99-1, and if Keontae Johnson doesn't get in foul trouble, they would have beaten FAU and been in the Final Four. And I had UConn last year as well. So the futures did me well. So right now I've got South Carolina 100-1. I've got Clemson 70-1. I have got Florida 70-1. I've got a UConn 12-1 from way back in I want to say it was early mid-December. And I got FAU at 40-1, and they could be had for 90-1 right now. So I got the worst of the number on that one, but feel pretty. Oh, and one last one. I also have Creighton at 40-1.
Okay.
So obviously, only one team can win the national title, but with the big numbers like South Carolina and Clemson, if those teams make the Sweet 16, I can start, maybe figuring out some hedges, to hopefully assure a profit.
Creighton, maybe the underdog of that, the true actual. I just until I see it with South Carolina and Clemson, not going to buy it. But the Creighton one I like. Creighton's a good team. They knocked off Marquette last week, and they're a really good ball club. Let's look at tonight's game for a second. And number one, South Carolina Brian, throughout the year, you and I have talked, text messaged throughout. South Carolina's just not received a lot of love in a lot of games from Vegas. They've constantly been underdogs on the road. They're underdogs tonight. Any particular reason you see that? Is it just still a lot of leftover residue from last year? Is it looking at the roster? Because it seems like constantly South Carolina has been the underdog. They are again tonight, 5.5-point favorite. What is your Vegas insider reasoning on why Carolina constantly the underdog this year?
Well, I think the metrics, the computers, don't really like them from the standpoint of the non-conference. Just didn't play that, which, you're going into the year, kind of still a rebuild. I mean, it turned out to not be a rebuilding year whatsoever. It turned out to be a breakout year. But, I'm sure going into the season, the thought process was, let's gain some confidence. Let's play some easy games. I mean, not y'all's fault that Notre Dame had a down year. But, other than Clemson in non-conference, The only top 100 teams were Grand Canyon, but that's a solid win, and Virginia Tech. So I just think that, computer-wise, the metrics, it's just the strength of schedule, I think, drags South Carolina down a little bit. But, man, at this point, you play in the SEC, you're 24-5. South Carolina doesn't have to apologize to anybody about anything.
I don't want to jinx them tonight, but let's go through a few games. You do have a few plays for tonight. Let's start right here in Columbia. Why do you like the Gamecocks plus the 5.5 home court advantage against Tennessee?
Well, Gunnar, you mentioned how they've been underdogs a lot this year. 13 times. They're 11-2 against the spread with 10 outright wins in 13 games as underdogs. They went into Knoxville January 30th as a 14-point road underdog. And that was I think I bought my 100-to-1 ticket the day after that game, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was when I was like, okay, they are legit. When they went in and won 63-59 at Tennessee, and South Carolina has just been dynamite at home, 14-2 straight up, 10-6 against the spread, and they're getting 5.5 tonight. I mean, I think South Carolina's got a good chance to win outright. I haven't done any money line yet. In fact, my accounts don't even have the money line price up yet, but it should be around plus 185, plus 190. I might get a little bit of that, but most of my investment will be on South Carolina plus the 5.5. Tennessee on the road, 10 games this year, 7-3 straight up, 4-6 ATS, and Lamont Paris should be National Coach of the Year. I don't even know that he's got much competition besides Abdul Rahim at South Florida. The South Florida Bulls are playing fantastic too, and his switch to the zone midway through the second half was a stroke of genius the other day against the Gators. The Gators were playing really well offensively, against South Carolina, one of the better defensive teams in the country, and they went zone, and that got Florida really flustered. And I thought it was the key to the game, and certainly Meechie Johnson just was spectacular, coming up with big shots at crunch time. He took over at crunch time. So give me the Gamecocks plus 5.5.
You like three others tonight. Let's get into these real quick. Minnesota, they are minus 5.5 against Indiana. Connecticut, they throttled Marquette a few weeks ago. They're 5.5, minus 5.5 at Marquette tonight. And Charlotte, the 49ers, minus 7.5 at Rice. Thoughts?
Yeah. So with looking at UConn, the key to this one, to me, is Marquette star Tyler Kolek is out. The Big East Player of the Year last season. He's got an oblique injury. They're hoping he'll be back in the Big East tournament, but he's out for the last 2 regular season games. And their big man, Oso Ighodaro, he's questionable. He missed the Creighton game along with Kolek. They lost by 14 on Saturday, and Ighodaro averages 14.7.3 rebounds a game. So that's just basically, well, the Huskies are terrific. I think they're the best team in the country. But Marquette is definitely without its best player and maybe going to be without its best post player. As for Minnesota, just an ATS juggernaut all year. They are 16-3 straight up, 17-2 against the spread at home, and overall they're 24-5 against the spread in the season. So take Minnesota minus 5.5 against Indiana. And then Charlotte, they've been awesome at home this year, 12-2 straight up, 10-3 against the spread. I will go with them minus 7.5 to Rice. Rice is off back-to-back losses by 22 at home to Temple and by 21 at Wichita State. Wichita State and Temple are two of the worst teams in the league, along with the Owls.
He's Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com, MajorWager.com. Make it part of your daily reading as you get ready for any of tonight's games. Again, to recap those particular picks, not only does he like South Carolina, but again, Minnesota minus 5.5 tonight, Connecticut minus 5.5, and Charlotte minus 7.5. And before we let you out of here, you have a UFC pick, or you got two actually, for this coming weekend's card. Give us those.
Yeah, great card in Miami Saturday night, UFC 299. I will go with the undefeated Jailton Almeida in the prelims headliner. This will be the last fight on ESPN before it goes to pay-per-view. He's undefeated going against Curtis Blades. I like him at even money, and I like Dustin Poirier in the co-main event. Poirier plus 185 going up against a young coming up guy in St. Benoit who has won every fight at lightweight, but he has never fought anyone of Dustin Poirier's ilk at all. And Dustin, I can't believe the disrespect from the odds makers. Give me Dustin Poirier plus 185.
Man, we appreciate it. You Gators, good win last night over Alabama. That should definitely lock them into the NCAA tournament if they weren't already. So we might have to have you back next week to look at conference tournament odds and just conference tournament champions that you like to take a little money on. How's that?
Let's do it, my man. Happy March. Should be a fun one for the Gators and Gamecocks. Thanks for having me, Gunner.
No problem. Brian Edwards, VegasInsider.com. Make sure you follow him on Twitter if you're not already. Vegas B. Edwards is the way to do that. And again, the picks for tonight. South Carolina, he likes the 5.5. Minnesota, minus 5.5. Connecticut, minus 5.5 at Marquette. And again, Charlotte, the 49ers, minus 7.5 against Rice. We'll come back. We'll take a look at the other side of things. Wes Rucker, Go Vols 247 joins us as we get you ready for tonight's big contest. 6:30 pregame right here on 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. 7 o'clock tip-off, South Carolina and Tennessee. You're listening to the early game.
The Game Network. The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
Also on the 107.5 The Game app and streaming live on The Game TV. Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV.
Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. A true reflection of quality.
The Game TV.
Brakes for less if you have the.
Oh, man. Okay, this might be my favorite moment of 2023. Taking place on November 9th, a Thursday morning at the 107.5 The Game Studios. A victory lap for us. Thank you to Jen Jensen for her outstanding work with the cell phone camera as we invaded the early game studios with the Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge Trophy, much to the dismay of one of the hosts who shall remain nameless, but that's his most photogenic angle. If you listen to the early game in the mornings, you know that he who shall remain nameless, Jen Jensen, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and the now retired Darlington Raceway president Kerry Tharp, compete in this NASCAR contest where we pick one driver for each race. You get bonus points if you pick the winner. The better the finish, the more points you get. It started in February with Stenhouse, my pick, and it ran all the way through early November, and for the second year in a row, yours truly came away with the trophy. Joshua contributed with a Michael McDowell pick at Indy, which was a home run pick for sure. He laughed at me, by the way, when I took Stenhouse at Daytona for what it's worth. But this is a serious contest, and if I had to choose between winning a fantasy football title with my buddies and this contest, not even a question. So we'll go for 3 in a row in 2024, and I already have Stenhouse set for Daytona, so perhaps he can win his second consecutive Super Bowl of stock car racing. So looking forward to an exciting 2024. And there's Kerry Tharp, again, retiring as Darlington Raceway president in his last race back on Labor Day weekend, the Cookout Southern 500, and there he is getting a selfie with the race winner Kyle Larson, who was also one of my picks during the year. So it's a fun year in 2023 competing for the trophy, and again, we'll go for 3 in a row next year.
#1-800-NEW-FEET or visit goodfeet.com.
Pete Wine Pool and Spa has a full line of hot tubs from Sundance and Strong Spas, sure to fit your needs and budget. So come by today to explore the health benefits of hot water hydrotherapy for overall well-being. Delivery and startup is always free and the cover is included. The name is Ale Wine, 2 beverages, ale and wine. Pete L. Wine Pool and Spa. We're on Sunset Boulevard in Lexington. You'll find us on Facebook and online at PeteLWinePools.com.
Worry less about spring cleaning and call Zerust Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $129 plus a free hallway. Book online at ZerustColumbia.com.
Plus text second title with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details. Don't miss out on JT's Kia Mania because of credit concerns. Remember, JT has the power to say yes when others say no. And just for coming, you can spin JT's prize wheel for cash and prizes. Register to win a new Kia that JT gives away each week. No purchase necessary. JT is fully stocked with new 2024 Kia Telluride, Souls, and Rios. Open Sunday with food and games for the kids all weekend long. Greystone or Killian, JT's Kia Mania is back.
Run the Cup, the Lexington Medical Center Governor's Cup Road Race. Be part of history in downtown Columbia at the longest running and most prestigious road race in the Southeast. The Half Marathon, 5K, and Main Street Mile are now open for registration. Kids can run the Cup for free in the Kids Main Street Mile. And don't miss the post-race celebration with music, food, vendors, and a special awards ceremony. Register now for the Lexington Medical Center Governor's Cup Race, April 12th and 13th. Learn more at governorscupsc.org.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic
Is sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive in West Columbia. Wetzel'sAuto.com.
Quite the busy morning out there on the highways, and a lot to talk about. Old Orangeburg Road at Two Notch Road. Also I-26 eastbound at exit 102. Also exit 97 on I-26 eastbound has an incident. I-20 westbound before Broad River Road, there's an accident there, so things moving a little bit better in that area. Some of the lanes have now opened up. So good news there, but it's going to be a sloppy day overall. Rain this morning, maybe around lunchtime. We get a little bit of a break till maybe 3-ish or so, 3 or 4. And then some scattered storms are possible. This all clears out for tomorrow, though. Mostly sunny, 73. But again, looking for a high today of 68. Right now, it's 59 with rain on the early game.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
8:35 as we roll along on your Wednesday morning. A big thank you to Aaron Lucas for joining us at the top of the hour, to Brian Edwards, a Vegas Insider, for joining us there in that segment. Anything you've missed, Jen does a fantastic job, as always, of getting them up on our podcast page. You can go to Jen Jensen Morse, where you can follow her on Twitter and listen to all of the segments. We're efforting Wes Rucker this morning from Go Vols 247 to try and get him on and get his take on the Tennessee side of things for tonight. Again, Vols come in 5.5-point favorites. Over under set at 139.5 tonight. We've talked a lot about this game today and broke it down from different angles. You go back again to the last time these two teams played and how things kind of played out. Colin Murray Boyles was really, in a lot of ways, a non-factor in that game. Had some early foul trouble. Ended up finished the game with three fouls. Only played 20 minutes. Had 4 points. Was 2 of 3 from the field. And, again, just wasn't what he has become over the last few weeks. Josh Gray, however, stepped in big. And against that Tennessee front line that's big and physical, in that particular game, he had 6 points and 7 rebounds and really kind of limited what Jonas Adu was able to do. And that'll be another part tonight. You're going to have Josh Gray come off the bench. Miles Studi, by the way, playing in that game, he was also a guy that was very big in contributing, made some key free throws there down the stretch. We remember him talking a lot of trash. He was 3 of 3 from three-point range in that particular game and kind of wrapped up the game as things finished up. And Jen, let's go ahead and get back to it because Studi does need to be able to play tonight. And that is one thing that Lamont Parrish discussed last night as it pertains to his availability for tonight. Here's Lamont Parrish last night talking about Miles Studi.
I think he's, in talking with the trainers and him after practice, he feels pretty good about where he is physically and wants to try to give it a go. So I think some of it we'll see how the game's going, and but don't be surprised if we see him out there, and then how he responds to. It's one thing to do it at practice, and then you get in the game and it's live, and so we'll see what that looks like. But luckily for him, he's made really good progress with it. It hasn't been as severe as what it could have been, and so his teammates and his coaches and myself, we're all looking forward to getting him back in the fold. But tomorrow, don't be shocked if he gets out there some tomorrow just to see what it looks like, in a real life scenario.
Playing Miles, Stute, that is a big piece now because of the three-point shooting, being able to spread out Tennessee. And obviously, Stute just has an attitude about him, too. Kind of a swagger that fits in with Michi Johnson and the way they like to play. Now, on the flip side of things, we all know who they have to stop tonight. Dalton Connect, who last time had 31 points, 11 of 24 shooting. In my opinion, and I've watched a lot of Tennessee this year, and I've watched more than I need to of Purdue. Zach Edey's really good for Purdue. Dalton Connect is the player of the year. He is the absolute player of the year. And last night, Lamont Paris, again on Carolina Calls, talking about slowing down and limiting Dalton Connect. Here's what he had to say.
I don't care who scores on my team, and I can't control who shoots on the other team. We can do some things to try to limit this or that. I can't control. If they want to have him shoot 40 times, he's probably going to score 45 points. And that would be the narrative, right? Dalton Connect scores 45 points on 40 shots. That's not that efficient. So I think we did a good job of staying between him and the rim. We wanted to eliminate a couple things. Eliminate layups. So it sounds pretty basic, right? But harder to do than it is to say. Eliminate layups. Eliminate transition buckets for him. I think he did have 2 points in transition. And then eliminate stare down threes. Make him shoot his threes off the move. He can make all those. There's no shot that he can't make. Right. There's just some that he's going to be more likely to make, and he's going to be more comfortable. So I thought we did a good job with that. He also missed a couple that he might make normally, a couple tough pull-ups in the middle of the paint. This guy's a player. He's a real offensive weapon, and he's going to make some of those. But you just want guys to work for the points that they do get. More importantly than the job we did on him, I think you had Zakai Ziegler had 2 points. Jonas Adu, I don't know how many points he had, but it wasn't a lot. He had 6 in that game, right? Those are 2 key calls for them. So while we're talking about what Dalton Connect does, I've mentioned this before. There's a world in which Dalton Connect scores 9 points and they score 80. There's also, and they win that one probably. There's also a world in which he scores 31 and they're held to 59, one of their lowest on the entire season. Right. And they probably don't win that one. So I don't care who shoots for that team or who scores. I'm worried about the total body of work.
That's Lamont Paris last night. And again, Tennessee with a lot of weapons on that team. We'll talk about that. Wes Rucker from Go Vols 247 set to join us next. We'll hit a break now, so we got time to wrap up the program with him and not rush him. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the Wednesday morning edition of the Early Game.
The Game Network.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
Also on the 107.5 The Game app and streaming live on The Game TV. Ever sit in this meeting?
What would you say you do here?
I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that?
Think to yourself, man, I'd rather be listening to the game.
You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. It's the Early Game.
Well, just go to iTunes or Google Play and download our app on all of your devices, and you'll never be without the game again.
I tell you what, March, obviously here, we're rolling through it. Tax season officially upon us, and now I got to ask you, are tax troubles weighing you down? Did I just bring you down even discussing tax troubles? Don't let that happen. Call the John Ecton Law Firm. That's right, 803-771-9800. They have a local team that's dedicated to resolving your income or business tax issues for good. And it all starts with a free consultation. But you can't get that consultation if you don't make the phone call. If you've been stressed out about this, you've been a little worried lately, now is the time to take care of your tax issues by calling the Ecton Law Firm, 803-771-9800. With proven local solutions, they've helped thousands of families and businesses just like yours escape the IRS maze. So take the first steps towards that worry-free life. Enjoy 2024. Don't worry about tax issues. Call the Ecton Law Firm today, 803-771-9800. That's the Ecton Law Firm. Call them. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. The success of the NFLPA's second annual player survey has me wondering why some ambitious media outlets, say ESPN or The Athletic, doesn't similarly survey the fans' stadium experiences. For instance, I'd give the Falcons an A+ for offering season ticket holders free tickets to road games. Oh, man.
Pneumonia.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
The YMCA is just a starting line, for the true self blooms only when we find our purpose, what makes us tick below the surface.
Early game.
With Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
We're focused on what we do. So if they like us, they like us. If not, they'll pay the price.
That was Lamont Paris earlier this season, and he clearly stated it. And joining us now to talk about Tennessee, who kind of became the first victim of South Carolina that we all went, okay, this team might be different than just an upset over Kentucky at home, knocking off a team at home. Wes Rucker, Go Vols 247, does a great job covering the Volunteers, both football, basketball, even baseball. I've seen you being out at some of the games there. And Wes, welcome in this morning. Glad you could get up and join us, buddy, as we get set for something that's new for us, meaningful basketball in March and a fun game tonight. And how are you doing this morning?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. How y'all doing this morning?
Well, we're fired up, man. This time it's rainy down here, but this time of year we don't get this kind of typical important basketball here in March. And tonight, obviously, first place on the line. And let's go back real quick. Your perspective, the Tennessee perspective on that game up in Knoxville back in January, where, again, South Carolina kind of announced itself going on the road and knocking off a top 10 team. What was the Tennessee perspective of South Carolina coming in there and winning?
Well, I mean, I think anytime you're a team that beats a team by 40 points a couple times in the same season, I think it's hard for you to get that out of your mind a little bit. And I think I don't know that Tennessee took South Carolina lightly. I just don't think Tennessee was really ready to play that night. And that's a bit unusual for that team. But it seemed like throughout that game there was never really a sense of urgency from Tennessee to acknowledge what was happening. And it seemed like they just kind of thought, okay, we'll get it together. We'll get it together. Don't worry, we'll get it together. And then, about midway through the second half, you're going, wait, what's happening? And it just kind of, they once they really kind of got engaged, it was a little bit too late for them to overcome anything. And I've never seen in 3 years Zakai Ziegler play as badly as he did that night. And, when Ziegler and Adu aren't doing much, it can be difficult for Tennessee. And South Carolina is a physically strong team, a confident team, and it got the job done. I mean, it's the only team, I think, in the past 2 years that's left Knoxville with a win. So you got to respect that.
You look at this Tennessee team, and obviously earlier this year they went on the road and only scored 69 points in a loss to Texas A&M. You look at the other loss to South Carolina, 59 points. This is a team that's predicated on getting up and down and out and about. What did South Carolina do, in your opinion, that limited Tennessee's offense on that night? You just talked about Ziegler. I've talked about that this morning. Adu struggled around the rim. From your perspective, what did it seem that happened offensively and how South Carolina's defense impacted what Tennessee does?
Well, I think South Carolina in that game kind of, South Carolina, if it can get up on you early, South Carolina can really kind of put a chokehold on a game. And, I mean, everybody talks about the pace. It's real, right? I mean, South Carolina, 340 out of 350 or whatever it is in pace nationally. If South Carolina can get up on you, it can really kind of, play at a deliberate pace, a patient pace, and it can really slow down a game and really shorten a game. And that's what people have done against Tennessee when they've beaten them this year, is they've gotten up on them and then they've just kind of shortened the game. And that kind of makes you press a little bit, maybe makes you take shots you wouldn't take, or kind of get in your own head a little bit. But that's happened to Tennessee a couple of times this year, and South Carolina was able to do it. So, I think if you're Tennessee going into this game, you really got to watch the start. Just don't let it get to a situation where South Carolina kind of gets up on you, double digits early or whatever it is, and then they can really, because they can really shorten the game, make it, and really shorten that window. That makes it tough.
Wes Rucker joining us again. Go Vols 247 as he covers them, but also does a great job covering the football program as well, baseball. Going back to Dalton Connect and what you knew about him in August and September. Obviously, coming from Northern Colorado, was this expected? Maybe not this, but was his kind of impact expected like this? Was he expected to be a role guy? How much does this come out of nowhere for you personally?
For me, what's interesting is this is one of the first times where a new guy comes to a team and you hear all off season how good he is, and then he's actually that good. Sometimes when the new toy comes into the program, you start hearing all this buzz in the off season about, oh man, this guy's really good, man, this guy's really good. And then sometimes then it starts and you're like, yeah, he's okay. Or he's pretty good. But Connect, I mean, this guy is just, they list him at 6'6". He might be closer to 6'7". There's really nothing offensively the guy can't do. And you never expect something like this. I mean, what is it, 24 points per game in SEC play, something like 25 points per game against quad one opponents. I mean, he's just been a rock all season long. And with what he's able to do with the way defenses throw everything they can at him, it's just remarkable. I mean, Auburn in that game last week defended a guy every way you can defend a guy, and sometimes threw three bodies at him. And that's one of the top 5 defenses in the country. And in the last 12 minutes of the game, it just didn't matter. He just said, I'm outscoring you. You can't stop me. My team's not going to lose this game. And yeah, I mean, he's a lottery pick for a reason. He's an unbelievable player. I thought he'd be good. Rick Barnes thought that Connect had an NBA offensive game when he showed up on campus, but it's the other ways he's developed since he's got to Tennessee that have turned him into a star.
Wes, you've covered SEC basketball for a long time. Not to date you, buddy, but both of us, I think, started working for 24/7 Sports around the same time. your take on this league this year, the talent, the night in, night out battles that are taking place, your take on where SEC basketball is compared to what you've seen over the last decade or so.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, man. I don't think I've ever seen the SEC be deeper or better than this. You know, I said earlier this year that I'm not sure how many Final Four caliber teams are in this league, but I've never seen this many Sweet 16 caliber teams in this league. And that to me, like every team from this league that gets into that tournament or whatever, all 7 of them, however many it is, all 7 of those teams have the ability to get out of the first weekend. And will that happen? Of course it won't happen. But in terms of the depth, the quality, there are even teams in this league right now, like, for instance, I'll say a team like Georgia, which, you know, was really close to having to play on the first night of the tournament this year. That's a really good team that is just a couple of bad breaks away from being much higher in the standings. And it was close to playing on the first night, you know, of the tournament. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it still will. I haven't looked at the numbers yet, but there's just a quality in this league. I mean, other than Missouri, let's be honest, those guys are having a rough one this year. But other than that, you go anywhere in this league, and you're in for a tough night, man. And I think that just puts in perspective what South Carolina's done this season. I mean, I like Lamont. I've always liked Lamont. I thought when he got to South Carolina, he'd do well. I didn't think they'd be this good in year 2. And, you know, that's taken a league that's already pretty good and made it even tougher.
Wes, we appreciate your time. We are out of it here. It's been a busy morning, man. Good luck in your travels, and we definitely look forward to having you back here in the next few months, talk a little football as well.
Yeah, we'll see y'all tonight. Leaving here in a couple hours, heading that way.
Safe travels, buddy. Wes Rucker, Go Vols 247, the volunteer perspective there as we wrap it up. A lot of basketball talk this morning, but, man, it's fun. This is exciting. If you go in tonight, make it a great atmosphere. Get down there and enjoy it. It's going to be a great game, and we will recap everything tomorrow. Preston Thorne will be back in studio. Look forward to having him with us, and we'll cover it as in-depth and as great as we possibly can. Y'all have a great rest of the day. Bill Gunner for Corley Pool Solutions. Okay, it's raining today. You're not going to go swimming unless you're doing some kind of odd swimming, but you are going to be swimming soon in your backyard pool. Is it ready? I'm telling you what, after this rain comes, you know what else comes? Oh, boy, pollen. That's no fun, but it makes a real mess of your pool. And at Corley Pool Solutions, they know how to handle it. They know how to get it out of your pool. They know how to handle algae, mold, all those things that can infect a pool and provide issues that don't allow you to use your pool. But at Corley Pool Solutions, the pool guru, Tracy Corley, is ready to help you, and he believes in providing the absolute highest quality swimming pool service at the most affordable price to you and your family. And that includes flat rate pricing, including all of the chemicals. Call for your maintenance today, 803-445-8109. 803-445-8109. It's more affordable for you to use Corley Pool Solutions than to try and maintain it yourself. Call today, 803-445-8109.
Live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios, this is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot.
Y'all have a great day. Fun show. In case you didn't notice, I've gone clean shaven. I've had a razor mistake yesterday, and this is the closest I've ever had the beard in 11 years. So y'all have a great day. Preston's back tomorrow, and we will see you there to recap everything. Take care.